I think we are live, Dave. Is that your TV? Can we lower that one down?
Yeah, Nadja, can you lower that? Sorry. Thanks.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's live stream, Between the Lines here. I'm joined by Dave tonight for a bit of a chat about all things Liverpool. Obviously, Dave, we can't start off this stream without discussing what just happened in the World Cup, because Germany down to 10 men, 93rd minute, and Toni Kroos steps up with an absolute belter.
Yeah, it's looking like they were going out, and he had as I said, he had a poor game, but what a goal. An amazing goal under that kind of pressure.
It really makes the last day very interesting, doesn't it? Obviously, Mexico really on 6 points, so a point would do them to top the group, but Sweden can't go into that game now and look for a point if Germany go and beat South Korea, which of course they will, because South Korea have nothing to play for.
That's right, yeah. Or do Mexico kind of say, look, Sweden, you can roll over us, as that means Germany get knocked out of the World Cup? I doubt they would do that, but stranger things have happened.
I think there'll be a few people sitting down with their laptops looking at the maths in this situation and seeing what needs to work out, because you'd imagine Germany could easily stick in 3 or 4 if South Korea just roll over.
I think they're on what, -1 goal difference now, Germany? What did they lose? 2-0 Mexico? Yeah.
No, was it 2-0 Mexico they lost in the end?
Was it 2?
I thought it was 1.
Yeah. No, 2.
Was it 2? I'm sure that was 1-0. I could well be wrong. Anyway, yeah, so they're -1. And Sweden are, they're level. They're on equal goal difference at this point. And then Mexico are plus, 3 or 4 at this point?
No, you're right. It was 1-0 Mexico.
So Mexico are plus 3 then.
Plus 3, yeah.
And Germany are level as well.
That's right.
So really interesting going into that last round of games.
Yeah,
this World Cup has pulled a few surprises on us so far. The Bad Elf, Leighton, Rod, hello to you all. Thanks for joining the stream again. We actually have some Liverpool news tonight to get through, guys. Don't worry, we have an agenda done out. We're going full on professional style this time. It's just Dave's in Germany. Dave's married to a German lady, is that correct?
That's right.
So Dave lives in Germany, so it's kind of a big deal what's just happened there in the 93rd minute. And you know what, Dave, I'm not going to lie, it was kind of a big deal for me in regards to my financial situation, because I won a few quid there.
Yeah. That was a great bet, mate, yeah. Well done.
So how did you find the game in general?
It was a bit sloppy. Germany were very poor in the first half. It did improve a lot in the second. It wouldn't take up a lot from them now to improve from the first half, but they should have really won by more. They peppered the Swedish goal in the second half. Werner, as you said as well, I'm not taking away your guy, he was a lot better when he went out on the wing, or out to the right anyway. I couldn't understand why Julian Brandt didn't come in earlier. I thought he would have caused a lot more problems.
Did you see his strike, by the way?
Yeah, it was a great strike, and you thought at that stage, I thought, if that's not going in, that's,
You had that, and then we had the header as well from Gomez that the keeper tipped over the bar.
Right. Great save. Really, really good save, yeah.
Just reading in the chat here, the Bad Elf said Heung-min Son scored an absolute belter earlier on for South Korea, and it was stunning. It's the type of goal Son scores for Spurs, though.
Yeah, very good player. I can't see him at Liverpool. I can't see any Spurs players ending up at Liverpool, though, so I think we could just move on from him. Fantastic player, though. He's probably their best. He's easily their best player.
Before we push on, Dave, to the Liverpool stuff, is there any question marks over the Swedish goalkeeper for that Kroos goal?
No, I don't think so, mate. Maybe, I don't know, you'd know better than me in the goalkeeper academy, but could the wall have done a bit better?
Do you know what? It just seems odd to me. It seems odd to me that he was able to be beaten that easily from that far out.
It was a hell of a strike, though.
It was a beauty of a strike. I'm not going to take that away from him. Yeah, what balls as well to do it. I mean, it takes, he's a Real Madrid player. He's used to those type of situations, and that's what you get. That's what you get winning the World Cup, Dave. When you're in these situations, you don't panic.
No, that's why he's the quality midfielder that we know that he is. It was just I didn't. Maybe the Swedish keeper think for the free kick, was he going to take it? Was it a direct free kick? And then kind of, I suppose, Royce laying it off to him, and did that kind of make him hesitate maybe a bit, the goalkeeper? But I'm
Yeah.
taking nothing away
I
from
was I was 100% sure he was rolling that across the edge of the box.
yeah, same as that. Same as that. So maybe the keeper, you know yourself, if you put even a bit of weight on one leg to try and go forward and he couldn't, he's off balancing completely for that shot coming in.
I see Louis mentioned Boateng getting sent off, and the Irish commentary over here, Dave. We had Ray Houghton doing the commentary on the game, and he was saying, and I was watching the UTV halftime analysis as well. They were all saying that Boateng was a liability. That he just looked like he thought he was Johnny Big Balls out there, and he was doing nothing to justify the way he was strolling around that field like he owned the place.
He plays completely different as well if Hummels was beside him. Rudiger, for people to say he's a decent, and he is a decent centre back. I thought he looked pretty poor as well tonight. But yeah, Boateng he wasn't his usual composed self. He got caught out a good few times, out of position as well. I thought he played very, very, very high up the pitch, and that caught Germany out as well.
Over the two games I've watched Germany, I haven't been impressed at all with Jonas Hector, and I know we were linked with him a while ago, and I know he's gone down with Hamburg and he's staying at the club, but he's not a player I would have wanted at Liverpool at all after watching him recently.
No, not now. You can tell he's a second division player in Germany. That sounds very harsh, but he was very poor again tonight. The best one in the Germany defence was Kimmich. I think he's a sensational player.
Yeah, he annoys me that he cuts inside so much though.
Yes, yeah, that does annoy me as well. Yeah, really does. You'd like to see him be a bit more two-footed.
And I think the last moan I'm going to have about Germany was Marco Reus. Why did he try and backheel that cross? Yeah. I don't understand that. It looks great if it comes off, but
this is the thing. You don't need it to look great when you're in that, but you just need to get the goal or the ball as simply and as quickly into the back of the net. Or try to find someone, but stop these silly tricks.
Timo Werner hasn't scored now in 2 games and hasn't really looked close to scoring either. But as I said to you when you mentioned earlier on, I thought he looked a lot better playing wide.
He did look a lot better playing wide. Yeah, he looked uncomfortable kind of up top as well, and even for Julian Brandt when he hit the post and it came out, his reaction was really slow, even though he was a mile offside. But there was a few times where the German players were stupid offside positions, and you're kind of wondering, what are they doing? What's the communication out there? Timo Werner is a strange one. Is he an out and out striker, or is he one of these lads who's going to be stuck on the wing and kind of drift in then?
Yeah, it's a tough one to say, but you know what? I've had enough of this. Enough World Cup chat. We're here to talk about Liverpool, so let's get stuck into it. The biggest topic of the past 24 hours, and since we were on here talking to you guys last night, is the link to Marco Asensio, or is it Mario or Marco Asensio?
Marco, yeah.
Real Madrid player. 180 million euro, Dave. 158 million pound, I think it was. Look, the cynical side of me says there's absolutely no way Liverpool are going to attempt a deal like that unless we're moving on one of the bigger players, and I can't see that happening either. So I'm calling bullshit on this one. How about you?
Same as that, yeah. I can't see Liverpool paying that amount of money. That's it's doubling what we paid for Van Dijk. No, I can't see it. I think what we discussed in the WhatsApp group as well, is it a smoke screen for FEKIR?
In which sense, for Liverpool to go in for FEKIR or for Real Madrid to be going for FEKIR? Because they've been linked with them as well.
Yeah, they have. But it could be, I suppose, Liverpool just coming out maybe or cheekily leaking something that they've put in the bid for ASENSIO, and because we had the Lyon president coming out saying, oh yeah, the 70 million now for FEKIR, and
see, I wonder what if the club will do that, because that's letting Lyon know they've got 158 million pound floating around.
That's very true.
That they're willing to put their hand in their pockets for. So, yeah, I'd be very doubtful that it was. But what do you guys in the chat think? Louis the Junior, what do you guys think, Flatman? Do you think there's any truth to this? Liverpool looking to spend 180 million euro on a luxury signing that we don't technically need at this moment in time, when the goalkeeper position is one that's screaming to be filled, Dave. And I have some news on that as well that I'll get onto a little bit later on. But I don't know. There's no way, Dave, that Liverpool are going to start spending 160 million quid or 158 million quid.
Absolutely not. No, I really can't see it. I'd rather, if they're not going to spend that money on Alisson, why would they spend an extra, 70, 80 million on a lad who doesn't regularly start for Madrid?
In saying that though, I've seen that haven't Roma signed a goalkeeper? I'm sure I've seen in the past 24 hours that Roma have announced the signing of a goalkeeper from within the Italian league.
No, I haven't heard anything. I'm going to have a look now for you.
And I also believe Real Madrid are close to signing a goalkeeper. Is it the Russian guy or
the Russian?
So bear with me on that. As far to the best of my knowledge, Roma have signed a goalkeeper. There could have been someone taking the piss on Twitter, but I'm sure it was Roma.
No, they have. They've signed a guy called Antonio. Is it Mirianti? Never heard of him. The Italian goalkeeper becomes Roma's 5th summer signing.
Yeah, so is that Roma make a way for Alisson to be released or to push
Possibly.
on? We know that they don't have any FFP issues now after selling England. That's after settling their debts or whatever you want to call them in that sense. And as you said, Dave, that's their 5th signing of the summer now, so they're going to have to probably start offloading players to an extent.
I'd imagine so, because Kluivert just joined as well, which was a very good deal for Roma, 17.25 million euros. So what's that? Let's say 15 million quid, which is nothing. Let me see.
Rod reckons that ASENSIO rumours seem like a deliberate distraction.
That's a good shout as well by Rod. And I don't know, it doesn't. I can't see Liverpool spending that money. But I could see Real Madrid selling the likes of him, because if they want to raise finance for Neymar, they're going to have to do it quick. They desperately want Neymar as their new Galactico signing, and they'd have to raise some serious wedge to get him in.
Sorry, I'm just reading some comments here.
Yeah.
The Junior says thoughts on Pope and Strakosha being off, and that is pretty much the news I was going to come to a little bit later on in regards to goalkeepers. Money says today, according to Rush the Cop, the odds of Liverpool signing a keeper is 1-11. Yeah, they know fucking nothing, so I wouldn't pay any heed to what they have to say. To be fair, I'm not slagging off the guys there, but I don't know them personally, but they're not going to have any inside information as to Liverpool's stance on a goalkeeper. As the Junior touched on there, the Echo and I think James Pearce in particular have come out and said that Liverpool have absolutely no interest in signing Nick Pope or Thomas Strakosha, Dave. So again, that's 2 more we can rule out.
Strakosha was a surprising one, because I think, from with the amount of chats we've done about him and pods we've spoken about him in, and with the Grujic link kind of to Lazio, is kind of putting 2 and 2 together and coming out with him. He seems to be a very good goalkeeper, so I'm actually slightly disappointed. But does that mean now that we get to see over the next couple of weeks who we're really interested in signing as a goalkeeper? Because I've no doubt that we are looking for a goalkeeper. Yeah,
for me, as I've said this all along, the goalkeeper position is number 1. It has to be the number 1 priority this summer, and I think people's heads are going to fall off. And as much as we all say, Dave, we trust Jurgen Klopp, and we do, but this will be the biggest gamble of his career at Liverpool if he didn't bring in a goalkeeper this summer.
Absolutely, yeah. And it has to be a world-class goalkeeper as well, because it's probably the weakest position within the spine of the team that we have now. Mignolet is definitely going. I doubt Karius. I don't want Karius to go, but I can't see Karius being our first choice goalkeeper, so we do have to go in for a world-class goalkeeper.
And the odds or the goalkeepers that we are kind of linked to are few and far between, but the ones that are actually realistic is Alisson and Oblak, and Oblak is somebody that I have seen 0 genuine links to other than fans wanting him. I have yet to see one newspaper, one journalist of note say that Liverpool are looking to pay that release clause or are looking to go and sign Jan Oblak.
I think that's the only way if we're going to get him as well, is by meeting the release clause. I don't think Atletico would entertain anything under what his release clause states. I also read that he's apparently close to agreeing a new deal, Oblak. So
yeah, there's a deal on the table from with a €200 million release clause in it, and Atletico have been looking to get him to sign that for a good few weeks now.
Yeah, if he signs that, forget about it. He's another one that won't be going anywhere. The Alisson links as well just seem to be getting less and less in Liverpool's favour. So who did they go for?
Yeah, I can't think of anybody. Honestly, I can't think of anybody outside Alisson who I suppose, if I'm going to roll the dice, and I've said this before, I wouldn't mind going for Donnarumma, but I'd caveat that by saying I'd expect a poor season out of him.
We can't afford a poor season. We have to bring in a keeper that's just going to hit the ground running straight away and just be exactly what we need, a world-class goalkeeper from the very beginning. We can't afford it.
Yeah, that's the problem. I'm just reading through some of the comments here, and everybody seems to be the same. They'd be pissed off if Karius was in for the first game of the season, made a mistake. Could it be a case of Alisson or nobody, the bad elf wants to know? And just looking through other comments, if Oblak wants a new deal, there probably won't be a release. There has to be a release clause, Junior, mate. It's law in Spain that all players' contracts have to have a release clause, hence the reason that Neymar was able to be got by PSG. Usually they put them... I think that release clause of Neymar, they thought was a fuck-off release clause, Dave, that nobody would ever come and pay it.
Well, even Asensio's... Going back to him, his release clause is 700 million euros.
Sure, we'll pay that, surely. If we're willing to go to 158, then sure, why not just make up the 7?
Yeah, what's an extra 450 between mates, yeah?
I've actually read, did I read this or did I hear it? Either way, the deal for Emre Can to go to Juventus. So apparently that deal is a little bit odd in that the 16 million euro that apparently he's getting as a sign-on fee, there's doubts as to whether that's true, and he's getting that 220 grand a week. But either way, he's getting that 220 grand a week for 2 years. Then his wages go down to in and around the 70k, I believe, and a release clause kicks in. So he has that release clause that becomes active after 2 years, apparently.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I'm always skeptical anyway when you hear about the players' wages and what they've been paid, because why would anyone release that kind of information? But it'd be interesting. That's very interesting, because that's a good chunk. That's 3 times nearly going down. 30 or 60% of his wage, kind of in year 2 or year 3, should I say? Sorry, but that's what took so long as well. For him to negotiate this release clause, it'd be interesting to see what his release clause would be at Juve.
You'd imagine that from Juventus' point of view, that they're going to get 2 good years out of him and pay him top money, and they're going to look to renegotiate towards the end of year 2. Correct. And hopefully get him to either kick out that release clause or push it back or push it a little bit higher and up his wages. So it's a gamble from everybody concerned, but Juve had to get it over the line. They really needed that signing. Yeah,
they did, because they would have looked foolish as well if they didn't, because he's been linked with them since, I'd say, for the last year now, since he started negotiating the contract with Liverpool again. And he was meant to be, had medical with them probably once a week for the last 4 months. But yeah, that's one they had to get over the line. It'd be interesting to see how they do this year, because Juve, will Sami Khedira stay there? I heard over here in Germany there's talks of him looking to leave Juventus.
Well, it looks like that Emre Can is a replacement, doesn't it? It looks like he's a ready-made replacement for Sami Khedira. I'm seeing in the comments here. Sorry, I'm just trying to find which one it was. Flatman says that release clause after 2 years or so that Emre can go back and join Munich. Well, I say back to Germany. He was never at Munich. Oh, he did start off at Munich, actually, didn't he?
He was at Munich, yeah, and then he went to
Leverkusen.
Leverkusen, that's right, yeah.
So Flatman reckons that release clause or that 2 year break clause is so we can go back to Bayern Munich, and that wouldn't surprise me at all either.
No, you could definitely see him going back to Germany, Emre Can, one day, definitely.
It is crazy how loyal to the German leagues a lot of the German players are, particularly around Bayern Munich.
Yeah, absolutely. They, as I said, even when we had this before, when the kids start over here playing football, the facilities are just fantastic. It's a cool country, Germany, as well. The weather's pretty good over here. But yeah, the amount of, you just have to look through the German national team. How many teams play outside the Bundesliga? I could name maybe off the top of my head 3.
Yeah, looking through that starting 11 tonight, there wasn't many.
No, Rudiger, Kroos, Draxler. That's probably it. Unless the guys tell me in the chat there. Um, but like, yeah, there wasn't too many outside the Bundesliga.
I'm still trying to figure out, by the way, what Thomas Muller actually does in that German team.
He reminds me of a plumber. He just looks like an ordinary guy, but he was very poor tonight. He was really poor tonight, but well below his standard.
A couple of things here about goalkeepers, and seeing as you're based in Germany, Dave, some of them are aiming this at you, so we'll have a little chat about a couple of keepers. First one I want to get your opinion on, Lubomira, and excuse me if I got that name incorrect, mate. He wants to know about Pavlenka, the Werder Bremen keeper.
Werder Bremen. He's got the Karius tag, hasn't he? He voted the second best goalkeeper in the Bundesliga last year. He's not a bad keeper. Werder Bremen aren't a great team. I think if he wasn't in the Werder Bremen team, they would have struggled a lot more this year, Bremen. But he's an okay keeper. I think he's 26, if I'm correct in saying that. Is he 25 or 26? I'm not sure. But would he improve on what we have?
Probably, I genuinely don't know much about him, to be fair, Dave.
He would, to be honest with you, yeah.
And the junior then wants to get your thoughts on Jan Sommer.
Another interesting one, great player. It's going to be difficult to see will these boys actually leave Germany though, especially the likes of Jan Sommer. Mönchengladbach, they're not a bad team. I can see them pushing up the table again next season. It's very difficult to say. He's younger, I think. Sommer is 29, isn't he? Is he 29, 30? Would FSG sign a player past the age of 26 for decent money? I can't see that happening.
Yeah, that would be my doubt there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, would they put their hand in their pockets and bring in a 30 million quid goalkeeper if they're not going to get a sell on at the end of it? Like, they're pretty much going to end up giving him away probably at the end of his contract.
They don't want that.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Lubomir says Pavlenka is top, and again, excuse me, mate, if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. I'm Irish. No European pronunciations for me, buddy. Absolutely useless. Rod says he'll support whoever's in goal on the pitch. That's all we can do, and maybe that's what we should do.
Yeah, no, look, I'm not saying I'm not going to support Karius. I'll support any player in a red jersey all the time. I'm just looking for Liverpool to improve, and there's better goalkeepers out there than Loris Karius.
Absolutely. The junior says his gut feeling is Alisson or Butland, and we've all seen Butland's name on that now infamous list, I suppose, Dave, that's gone back from both Graham Kelly and the guy Macca on the Liverpool Rumours page.
That's right.
Butland was on that list. I will grow hair just to tear it out of my head if Butland signs for Liverpool.
I hope it's not. Alisson does seem the most. I still think Alisson does seem the most likely because apart from paying this Salah tax to Roma that they want, we were close to signing him at Christmas, but I think Roma just said, look, we're in a Champions League campaign. We want to go as far as we can in the competition. We're not letting our best goalkeeper come back in the summer.
Yeah, I think Melissa Reddy said at the time they were quoting us £60 million and it's going to keep rising.
It's just going to keep going, and see how Brazil get on in this World Cup as well. If they go far and if they maybe possibly win it, of course that's going to add another nice wedge of change to Alisson's value.
The junior says he'll support Butland and any other Liverpool player, but fans won't want him, and I will be top of that list of fans that do not want him. Yeah, I don't think I've ever really been against a player that Liverpool have signed to an extent that it physically pissed me off, but Butland would be very damn close.
And there's been a few, mate, as we know. The ones that spring to mind there straight away is that Donkey we had at left back. I've actually forgotten his name. He was that bad. Hodgson signed him.
Oh, the guy, the baldy twat.
Anyway,
Paul Konchesky.
Paul Konchesky, yeah. That physically made me vomit.
They were dark days, they were.
Oh my God, they were horrible. Christian
Poulsen,
yeah, from the fucking Watertown, Evian or something like that. He signed from, like, for
And
Christ above.
and then that other guy that we got, the Eastern European fella that we got on pretty much a free as well, I think. Jovanovic, was that his name?
Jovanovic, yeah, Jovanovic. Oh Christ, yeah, that was horrible. That was woeful.
Shout here from Louis for Sergio Rico from Sevilla.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout.
I just fucking hate Sevilla. I hate everyone that's ever pulled on the shirt for that club. I hate. They're just. I don't know. I call. If there was a football team that I had to point the finger at and say you're all cunts, then it would be Sevilla.
They're horrible. I've watched a few of their games this season, and just the amount of fucking diving and just play acting, that winds me up at the best of times. Anyway, I hate that, but they take it to a new level. Horrible, horrible football club. Give me Betis any day of the week.
Interesting here. Rod said, having said that, I'll go back to supporting St. Pauli if LFC sign Butland. That's interesting, Dave, isn't it? You could go and watch games together, even though Rod's in Australia at this moment in time.
Yeah, St. Pauli. They're my local team here, yeah.
We've even threatened to go over and watch a game with you over there in Germany, Dave.
Yeah, look forward to that. That'd be good. I think the fixtures for Germany, they're being released this Friday for the leagues. They haven't been released yet.
The junior says, don't forget Stephen Corker on loan, which was, I think the only appearance he made was as a striker.
Who was that? Was that against Arsenal?
It was a cup game, I think.
Was it?
I could be wrong. I just imagine it was a cup game now. I could well be wrong. But yeah, that was a strange one, wasn't it?
That was a very strange one, yeah. Really, really strange. Thank God he didn't cost anything regarding a transfer fee.
Actually, you know what? Speaking of past LFC players, I think it's only right that we send their best wishes to Jose Enrique he's after having an operation to remove a very, very rare brain tumour. And I believe this brain tumour or this situation is so rare that there's only 4 machines throughout the entirety of Europe that can actually give him the radiotherapy treatment that he needs. That's how rare a brain disease this was.
Wow. Yeah, good luck to him. I hope everything goes well. He apart from obviously being a red, you don't want to hear that about anyone. Cancer's horrible. Or tumours, whatever you want to call them. So all the best to Jose, yeah.
Yeah, it's great that it's looking like good news. He's had the operation and he's going for treatment, but that must have been very, very scary and his partner. I'm not sure if he's married or not. I know he does have a partner, but best wishes to him. Obviously,
young man.
You hate hearing things like that. Believe he's an agent now himself and his brother.
He is an agent. Yeah, that's right. He is an agent out in. Well, I think they're based out in Spain, but he's only young as well, Enrique. I think he's 32, 33. So. Yeah, touch wood. I hope everything goes really well for him because he actually seems like a really nice guy. He was the selfies man, wasn't he?
He was the FIFA and table tennis champion.
That's right.
Of Liverpool Football Club, I believe. What I want to say as well in that sense is that what comes to mind when I think of Jose Enrique is this physical specimen. Really broad-shouldered, powerful, strong man. So from to be struck down with a disease or an illness like this, it can happen to anyone.
Can happen to anyone, mate, yeah. I think his nickname was El Toro, the Bull.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because he was so strong. He was a beast. I hope he still is and gets back to that way again. But yeah, it can happen to anyone, mate. The head is a funny thing. You could be the strongest person in the world and just overnight. Yeah, so all the very, very best to him, yeah.
Yeah, as we said, we pass on our best wishes to Jose Enrique and fingers crossed he makes a quick recovery and gets back to living his life as normally as possible. What else have we got here in the chat? The junior wants to know thoughts on James Maddison joining Leicester. He thought he'd come to us, and he was linked to us, Dave, but it looked like Southampton. Southampton was the team that everybody believed he was going to sign for right up until the last minute, and I believe he chose Leicester because his family's based in Coventry, I think.
That's right,
and Leicester allows him to stay in that catchment area or that type of area that he can stay close to his family.
£24 million, though. Whew. It's a lot of money.
He's got the English player, though. He's an English player, so you can't overpay.
Of course, yeah. Even Norwich came out with a statement going, we just couldn't refuse that type of money, so did Leicester even overpay for him? I obviously think they did. But he's a Liverpool fan, isn't he?
I haven't got a clue. I know very, very little of James Maddison. I didn't even watch him last season in the Championship. I only start looking into him when Liverpool were linked to him. I know he's very, very highly thought of. He had an injury towards the end of last season.
That's right. That's right. Him. Southampton. I don't. I suppose. Look, there's obviously reasons why you choose Leicester over Southampton as well. I think Leicester are a better club. There's a lot going on at Southampton that people don't realise. There's still a lot of. Just moving away from Madison. Sorry. There's still a lot of issues with the owner. What's she called again? The crane company over here in Germany, Libra, I think it is. Taxes and different things like that. Could be a worrying time for Southampton if all the stuff doesn't get sorted out. But back to Maddison, I just think Leicester have severely overpaid for him. And when you look at, they could have had Shaqiri for 12 million if we're led to believe his release clause. So to double that on a lad who hasn't played for his country as a senior player, or has he? I don't think he has.
Not as a senior player, no. I think he certainly played through the underage.
Under 21s, yeah. I don't know. What's your thoughts of him?
I think if we had really wanted him, we'd have bought him. That's pretty much where I am on it. I mean, 22 million to us is probably him in and not Shaqiri to an extent. If you get where I'm coming from, it's not that big of a deal, but it'd be interesting to see how he develops over the coming years. I mean, they'll probably end up turning a nice profit on him if he turns out to be anywhere near the level of player people believe he is. Then obviously the bigger clubs are going to come in and try and take him from Leicester, and no doubt Leicester will turn a nice profit. Thomas Bowling gives a shout out to Sean Dundee. Now there's a player.
Did you hear the story how Sean Dundee was signed to Liverpool?
No.
Apparently Roy Evans was offered 2 first-class Concorde flight tickets anywhere in the world, wherever they flew to. I think at the time Concorde only flew to like New York and I think it was the Bahamas, and that was part of the deal. Now that's what I heard anyway. I heard that from a lad I know in Liverpool a long time ago. Yeah.
That's you know what, football's so crazy that I don't doubt that there might be some ring of truth to that somewhere. I'm sure it's been embellished or changed a little bit as from person to person, but you know, football's a crazy game, so you never know.
But he was just a jackass, Sean Dundee. And Sean, if you're listening, which I doubt you are, you were one of the worst strikers ever to wear the Liverpool jersey. I'm sorry.
Neil Anthony wants to know, what do you guys think of Lozano from PS3 as a squad backup for the wingers? He looks like he'd suit our style of play.
I don't know too much about him, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know too much about him. He's a
Mexican guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
He played today and he looked very lively.
I didn't watch that game today. I was out and about now today, so I didn't see that.
He did catch my eye in that game, funnily enough.
Really? Okay.
And I claim very little knowledge of him. That's why when I seen the name pop up here, and I just want to double check, it's definitely the same guy, isn't it? So let me just double check the team news from that game earlier on, because you know my World Cup knowledge, as I've said, isn't great. So I'm just gonna have a little look through the team lineups here. It is Lozano, left wing.
What's this? Herving or something like that. He's a strange first name.
That's it, yeah, Herving Lozano. Yeah, he did catch my eye in that game, and Neil. He looked really lively, and I had seen a couple of people mention his name on here over the last few days as a player they thought was really good. And it looks like Flatman's living in Southampton, because he said it's really warm here in Southampton.
Oh, very good. I know, I'm just looking, I'm trying to find a bit of information on him here, Lozano. He actually got a good goal return for PSV. If that's any, I know you can't really judge the Dutch league and the players in the Dutch league too much, but 27 goals, was it? Mm-hmm. No, sorry, 17 goals in 29 games.
That's not a bad return at all, especially from a wide position.
From a winger, exactly, yeah. So it's, you know, a goal every more than every, or less than every 2 games.
What do you guys in the chat, what do you guys think of Lozano? Has he impressed you from the 2 games Mexico played in this World Cup? Obviously Mexico as a team has impressed everybody, and I was very impressed by them, particularly today, because it was a different game to the German game, and they didn't play on the counter attack. They played in the front foot a lot more today, and I thought they were excellent against that South Korean team. How their captain, what's the guy's name, Key, didn't get booked, I will never know. the referee warned him. I think he had 4 or 5 fouls in the first half, and he was warned every time. Then in the second half, he slid in on the goalkeeper and caught him with his studs, and still didn't get booked.
Jesus.
It was nuts. And the referee was handing out yellow cards to South Korean players like Smarties. I think there was 4 or 5 of them booked, and a lot of them was their first tackle. He was just like, "Oh yeah, here, have a yellow card." But yeah, Mexico have been very impressive. So good shout on Lozano. And as I said, I'd like to see what you guys in the chat have to say about him, because I know a lot of you have mentioned them over the previous days.
Just gonna ask the guys there as well, just to see who they think the priority for Liverpool to sign is, what position.
Yeah, so as David said there, do you guys agree with us that the goalkeeper is the priority position, or do you think perhaps we need to bring somebody in to replace Coutinho? Fekir obviously being the choice for that for most of us, or do you think maybe a centre back or a central midfielder is what we need? And speaking of central midfielders, actually, Dave, and centre backs, have you seen that Naby Keita has arrived in Liverpool?
He's in Liverpool. God bless him. Yeah, he is. Apparently, he's starting training on Monday, I think, before the squad actually goes in. So that goes to show you a bit of dedication from the lad there as well.
I cannot
Fair
wait.
play.
I cannot wait to see him play for Liverpool.
Anyone who hasn't watched him consistently or properly, and again repeat myself, he is going to break players. He is going to break players in the Premier League, and he will not give a fuck.
Thomas Boland actually has a show that says Eric Meyer was another plonker that wear the shirt. Yeah, but Eric Meyer was a character.
Eric's a hero, yeah.
I like it. I have a soft spot for him, to be fair.
Yeah, big red as well is Eric.
He likes having a drink with the Reds when they go over and play in Germany as well.
Yeah.
He meets up with the fans, and he's supposed to be an absolutely top-notch fella. But yeah, if we were to sit here and talk about flops, we could go on for hours. There's been a fair few of them.
Gotcha. I was just going to say, the lads, the people on the chat, sorry, they're giving us the worst ever Liverpool player.
The worst ever Liverpool player. But
is that what they're giving us? Is it just when they said Dundee and Meyer and probably?
I think we started this conversation when we started talking about Poulsen. Do you remember?
We did actually.
I think it was our fault that we started this.
Yeah.
Louis says a goalkeeper, Coutinho replacement, and backups for the front three, and I will take them in the exact order he's just put them there. Actually, for me,
it would be goalkeeper, centre back. I think we need a centre back because, as I said, Clavin is out long term. Gomez is still injured. Matip has obviously some reoccurring issue with his back. We are one injury away from the centre back position for it being just a disaster. If loving the way he's playing in this World Cup, he's just been absolutely immense. But if he or Van Dijk gets injured, that's just basically diarrhea time. It's just going to be horrible.
I hate to bring this up, guys, but just in case any of you are new to the channel or new to the stream and you haven't yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and help us grow the Anfield Agenda YouTube channel. Julian Brandt is a must-buy, please, from James Doherty. And Dave, I'm going to let you break his heart.
No, absolutely. We haven't a chance of getting him, mate. He's going to Bayern. Simple as that.
I hate doing things like that, though.
Yeah,
I hate having to be the bearer of bad news, because there's none of us will deny that he's a quality footballer.
I love him. I think he's a cracking player. Yeah, again, it's just going back to that thing. It's very unlikely, very unlike a German player to leave Germany, and especially if Bayern Munich come knocking for them. No matter who you support in Germany, if Bayern Munich come knocking, you usually answer their call. It's just the way it is over here. I don't think we've been linked with him heavily. Of course, there's going to be a huge amount of teams linked with him because he's such a good footballer. But he's off to Bayern, mate.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
The skipper dog says PSV. I think we're going back to the Mexican guy again. He was a star in the
Lozano.
Confederations Cup last year. We're probably a year late for him, and that might be a good shout, to be fair.
That's a great shout.
I don't believe that Liverpool are going to sign any player on the back of them having a good World Cup. I believe the work will have already been done, and if they're waiting on anybody from the World Cup, I reckon it's more an injury thing. They're waiting to make sure they come out of the World Cup fit and healthy.
And if we're led to believe as well, it's a very good point that you made, that the work is done months ago. Fabinho, apparently, that was
February, I think they said.
That's right, yeah. That's right. So that's been going on for a while.
Flatman reckons it has to be a goalkeeper, but we do need others. The Junior says Alisson, Fekir and Lascelles would be nearly ideal, and I think most of us, Dave, would you be on board with those signings?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a good shot by the Junior, yeah.
Escapado says Alisson and Fekir, and you've got me there, buddy. I'm right on board with that. Charlie Heat says a versatile winger and a goalkeeper would be enough for us to challenge for the title, I think. And that's a conversation that we're going to have actually on tomorrow night's Cop Council podcast. So Dave, you might as well have a bit of chat about this as a precursor to tomorrow night's pod.
Yeah.
What do Liverpool have to do going into next season? I mean, we can talk about strengthening the players and strengthening the squad, but to close that gap on Manchester City, what is it we have? What do we have to improve on? Because we went unbeaten at home, although 7 draws, I believe, so that can be worked on. But what else do Liverpool need to do to close that gap?
Last season, we still were making a couple of silly mistakes. Now I know mistakes can happen, but I don't want silly mistakes where it seems to be a lack of concentration, and that can be worked on. You can work on it. You can work on kind of the team's coherence regarding concentration. I'd like to see an improvement in that. If we do sign a world-class goalkeeper, and we do get the likes of Fekir, we're not going to be a million miles away from challenging. I'm not going to say that it's, we will win it, but there'll be a lot of worried teams worrying about Liverpool next year or next season in the Premier League if we can side them boys. Because as I said, Naby Keita, I really just can't wait to see him.
He's going to break people up.
And that's what we need. We need that snide, horrible, nasty fucker in the centre midfield who doesn't care. He absolutely ruined one of his own teammates at Leipzig training last season. Broke him in 2, and that was it. It's just shook his shoulders. Get on with it.
Muneen says Keita touchdown in Merseyside as he prepares to begin life as a Liverpool player. Louis says go for Jonathan Tah. Again, Dave, a lot of these players seem to be right up your street here. We seem to have a lot of links to German players, and you're our now christened Bundesliga expert, whether you like it or not.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for that.
I mean, I had a pizza once, so I think that makes me the Italian Serie A expert.
Jonathan Tah, he's an interesting one.
He's a big lump.
He is a big lad. He's 6'4", 6'5", I think. 22. I'd have him. I think he's a very good. He actually comes from Hamburg. He plays for a team. Started his career here with a team called Altona 90V. They're a very hipster left wing club, similar to St. Pauli. But he's a beast of a lad. He's got 3 caps for Germany. That's obviously he's going to get a hell of a lot more the way Jerome Boateng played tonight. It'd be interesting to see how much Leverkusen would actually want for him, or even if we have any link or interest to him. But I'd like us to have.
It's weird because a lot of clubs have been looking at centre backs. We've seen Manchester City going by a centre back last season. Obviously, Liverpool went and signed Virgil van Dijk. We've heard Chelsea being linked to players like Koulibaly, and Jonathan Tah has never really seriously come up in any of the conversations I've heard around these clubs.
It's just going back to that unit thing as well. We've seen what Van Dijk does to install confidence into, let's say, Lovren and even the midfield who he plays with. Can you imagine what having 2 absolute units in the centre back would do for confidence in the team?
He is. I mean, I call Harry Maguire a pudding, but Jonathan Tah is a lean pudding.
Yeah, he's a brick shit house. Yeah.
There's some more questions here for you, Dave. So settle in, buddy, because it's going to be a long one. Just looking through some shouts as well for shitty players. Torben Picnic.
Oh fucking hell, yeah.
Flatman said Juff, and you know what, I spoke earlier on about hatred for players. Well, he is one prick that I absolutely despise.
I'd say he'd be the most hated Liverpool player in I've hate is an awful strong word, but absolutely despise the fella. Just a complete dirty shithouse. Horrible human being.
Hang on here, Richard. Now relax here, mate, with the Mark Kennedy show. Hang off now, he's Irish. We leave him alone. Mark Kennedy actually played at a club I played against many times. I think it wasn't Stella Maris he played for. Was it St. Kevin's Boys?
Was it, yeah?
Yeah, it was either St. Kevin's Boys or Stella Maris Mark Kennedy played for, but it was some team out near the airport. Because I remember playing out there a couple of times, and he was on the pitches before, obviously, he became a big player he was well known about as being a player that was going to make it. So
Yeah.
Mark Kennedy, I think, was more unlucky,
He was very unlucky.
and he liked to drink as well. To be fair,
He did like the ale. Yeah.
a typical Irish man.
Yeah.
Genius fucked up by a few drinks. There's actually a couple of interesting stories about him that, you know, it wouldn't be right for me to talk about on here, but maybe if you Google them or have a look, you'll see a few of them. But he's a bit of a character. Do you know who else is a real character, actually, just talking about Liverpool players? The ex-keeper there, Tony Warner.
I've met him a couple of times. If you're ever around match days or something like that, and do you know, not the King Harry pub, there's another one. There's another pub up the road, or down the road, sorry, coming closer to Anfield, on the Anfield Road. Name loses me now. I've met him in there a few times. He likes a pint as well, does Tony.
I've listened to him on, you know, the Magic Sponge podcast. Have you ever heard that? I've listened to him on that a couple of times, and some of the stories that he tells around the time of Razor Ruddock and Stan Collymore and stuff like that. I mean, Jesus, they were wild.
I could listen to him all day and all night, the football player story, because some of the antics they get up to is just unbelievable.
Carragher told a story one night. I was at a show. It was Jamie Carragher and Didi Hamann doing this show, and they were talking about things that they used to do to spice up games and stuff. And they used to have a game where they had a £1 coin, and they used to see how many times they could pass it around the team throughout a game whether the camera's picking up on it.
Oh, really? Yeah?
Yeah, they're absolute fucking nutcases. I mean, the story about Didi Hamann's first night in Liverpool as well is unbelievable. So Didi Hamann apparently arrived in Liverpool, went out on the lash, and Didi Hamann loves a drink, by the way.
Oh, God.
Absolutely loves a drink. So he goes out in Liverpool on the lash, and he wants to go home at the end of the night, and he can't get a cab. No one's stopping for him. So he walks out and lies down in the middle of the road to get a cab to stop. And he gets in the cab, and the cab driver asks him where he's living, and he hasn't got a clue, because he's just after arriving in the city. So the cab driver has to drive around for the next couple of hours until he recognises somewhere looks familiar to him, and he finds his way back to his apartment or house eventually.
My God.
First night in Liverpool. Yeah, he's the least German I've ever seen. I mean, he's a cricket loving German.
A bit of a Tory as well, which is a strange one, but he's very un-German. He's taken to the English way of life very, very well, yeah.
Had the privilege of meeting him and having a good long chat with him at one of the ex-player shows we were covering. We were doing a bit of work and got to meet himself, Didi Hamann, Vladimir Smicer and Luis Garcia. But I've got to be honest, I made a beeline for Didi Hamann and just spent the entire time talking to him, asked him what he thought about Eamon Dunphy and just crazy things like that. But he was an absolute gentleman, really down to earth. I mean, down to earth so much so that they had a few sandwiches and stuff, and there was... what was it that was left? I think it was... oh God, what was it? It was something like a packet of nuts or something that was left on the table, and he said, get them there, don't leave them there, we'll have them later on. And he made sure the lads brought them. I mean, it's absolute gentleman, I really have to say.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've gone off topic a little bit. The Junior wants to know your thoughts on, and I'm really struggling to pronounce this one, Upamecano.
Upamecano?
Yeah, that means nothing to me, I have to say.
Means nothing to me as well, mate, to be honest. Upamecano or Upamecano?
You've got a stump there, Junior, buddy. Sorry.
No idea.
Rod says, thank you for alerting us to Kloppo's holiday snaps. Good to see him and his wife happy. They look like they're having an absolute ball over there in Ibiza.
He does like going out to Ibiza, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He really does.
And not a care in the world, not a breeze in him, just having the crack, enjoying himself, which is proper order. Good man, Big Yergs.
You'd imagine he's almost fucking sponsored by Corona at this point. The amount of time, every picture he seemed to have a bottle of Corona in his hand.
Upamecano, unless the Upamecano, sorry, I'm going back. I know he's a French lad. He plays. If it's the same fella, I don't know. Maybe Junior can confirm. I think he plays for Leipzig. I think he's not even 20 years old yet. Junior, could you give me a dig out here, mate? You seem to know what you're talking about.
Bit of chat in here as well about Brewster, and I think there's not a disagreement, but I think a few people are of different minds about where he is in his development. So Brewster, Dave, is someone I think we're going to see burst through this season. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be a fixture in the starting 11 anytime soon, but I think you're going to see him do what maybe Ben Woodburn did, and even more so this season, because he's really well thought of by Jurgen Klopp.
Oh God, yeah, and I don't think he would have signed the professional contract, especially with the clubs he was being linked with, if the gaffer wasn't guaranteeing him some kind of game time, whether that be in cup games or in league games or whatever it might be. But yeah, I think we will see a lot more. When is he back in training from his injury?
I believe they reckon he's going to be ready for pre-season.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's good to hear.
I'm really hoping to see him over in Dublin when he comes over here to play against Napoli, because I really enjoyed seeing Jordan Ibe a few years ago when they played Celtic at the Aviva. Even at the young age, I think he was then, maybe 16 years of age, you could see he was an absolute specimen. And pace, power, bags of potential. Hasn't really fulfilled it yet, but I mean, this guy Brewster, Ryan Brewster, he's probably, I think it's fair to compare him to the kind of calibre that Michael Owen was at that age.
That's a big shout, mate.
It is. That's how highly I believe everybody within the club and Europe. I mean, he'd no shortage of offers. Melissa Reddy made a point of saying on a podcast she was on that he had offers from all over Europe, and many from Germany, as we know about Mönchengladbach and others. But he is very, very highly thought of. Yeah,
Dortmund were linked with them as well, heavily linked with them. But this is the thing now. All these German clubs, they're taking a lot of interest in what's happening over there in the UK. Like they snapped up that lad from Man City, Dortmund. What you call him? Sandro. I forget his name. Sorry. And he's getting a bit of the game time at Dortmund now as well, and he's banging in a few goals. And he doesn't look too bad.
Everton went over as well, didn't he? The one of the forwards from Everton. I mean, Sam Allardyce wanted him to stay, and I think he fucked off to Germany as well. I can't remember what the guy's name was.
When was that?
It was it would have been when Allardyce came in, so probably the Christmas window.
Interesting. Okay, there you go.
I can't think of the guy's name. Was it Luckman or something like that? I can't think of his name. Football Wonderland. Good evening to you, mate. Thanks for joining us again. He says, "What about the Swiss centre back Akanji, who we were linked with last summer? He looked a very good player."
Sorry, going back to Luckman. No, you're right. He was actually on loan. He's on loan to Leipzig, but he's still an Everton player.
Yeah, but Allardyce apparently didn't want them to leave. He wants them to stay, and he thought he'd give him a look in, but he was having none of it. He wanted to go over to Germany to progress his career.
Yeah. That's right. Young lad as well. What is he, 20 or something?
I don't blame anybody for leaving Everton, to be fair.
Especially with that.
Who else have we got here? Akanji, Akanji, the junior, said he joined Dortmund.
Yeah? When was...
Again, I don't know. Another player who I'd have to say I don't have much knowledge on, but underneath that, the junior then goes on to talk about somebody who I know you rate very, very highly, Dave, and that's De Ligt from Ajax.
Oh God, yeah, I think he's brilliant, and he's handed in a transfer request himself and De Jong at Ajax. They've handed in a transfer request. I think they're just getting a bit fed up there. There's a lot of internal things happening at Ajax and silly things, but I'd love to see him at Liverpool because I think he'd just be the perfect partner for Big Verge. He plays with him in the Dutch national team. They know each other. They've played with each other. If there was any chance, I'd love to see Liverpool going in for him.
Flatman wants to know your thoughts on... No, sorry, it wasn't Flatman. The junior wants to know your thoughts on Mario the Chubby Chubster got to reunion with Klopp. He wants to know your thoughts on that. My thoughts are that he can go fuck himself, but I'll let you give yours.
I think that I don't think that's. I'd be very surprised if it does happen unless we're getting him on a free transfer. For the simple reason is he has an underlying medical problem and it's not a nice thing for the lad to happen to the lad. That could very easily end his career. So no, I can't see that happening.
God, very political question here from Thomas Boland, and it's something that I suppose we might have given a little bit of thought to at the back of our minds, Dave, but never really spoken about publicly. How will Brexit affect transfers? transfers? And that's, you know what, that's a genuine question.
Well, it is going to affect not only transfers, but how obviously clubs buy players, because there will be a ruling that has to come in where they have to have so many English players or players who've resided in the UK for 5+ years. So it is going to affect it. Yeah, it's going to have a huge impact on how clubs do business and where they look at now.
I'm still waiting to see, and obviously, look, we're not going to get into politics on here. It's not the place for it, but I'm really interested to see how this all works out from Ireland's point of view in regards to the border in Northern Ireland. But look, as I said, it's not the right place to be talking about this on here, but I'm very confident that England are going to get fucked, Dave. Let's put it that way.
In Brexit, yeah, the whole of Europe are laughing about them. It was mind-boggling between that and Donald Trump as well. It was just, what is going on? What is actually going on? Because you look at the Brexit, and we shouldn't maybe get into this, probably the wrong place and the wrong kind of
I do think
audience.
Actually that we're being backed so much here because we were the good boys when we paid back the bondholders, and
That's right.
we took our medicine that time where the Irish economy went into the shit. So I think this is what happens when you're the good boys. We're getting the backing now.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a nice touch from Claude Juncker, whatever you call him, just to come out and say, Ireland's borders are Europe's borders. That was really good. That installed kind of, I suppose, a lot of confidence, because I've family who live in the north. I have 2 aunties who live up there, and obviously they're from the Republic like I am, and it's going to be difficult for them, if they're heading down to Mayo or anything like that. It is just going to be very, very difficult. So
I mean, we're about the same age, Dave, so we would have grown up seen both ways of getting through the border. We would have seen the easy way. We can just drive up now and not give it a second's thought. And the only way we know we're in Northern Ireland is when we see the road signs changing.
That's right.
Or we can go back to the old way of military checkpoints and going up to Newry perhaps at Christmas time and seeing tanks and having your car searched coming through and
Horrible.
stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely horrible. So hopefully it doesn't go back to that again, because that's only going to stir more rubbish and more tensions again. So
back to the lit. Let's get back to the lit. That's a much more exciting conversation. The junior reckons he'll end up at Barcelona. Yeah,
that's you could. He's that's another good shout by the junior. You could see that happening. I could personally see that happening. But again, I'd be so disappointed. He's only 18 years old. He has close to 10 Dutch caps. He's a unit as well. He's 6'2", 6'3". I'd be going in. I'd be just what do you want from my ex? Let's talk.
Yeah, I suppose it will be just as easy for us though to turn around and say that we already have that at the club, to an extent. A player in Joe Gomez who, until his injury was the last 18 months or so, I mean he's thought of just as well in English circles anyway as a centre back.
Yeah, I have a few mates who are Arsenal fans and all that. And one of my best mates is an Arsenal fan, and when we signed him, he texted me when it was released going, "You've got yourself a hell of a player there." Really disappointed that Arsenal weren't in for him when we got him from Charlton. I like Joe Gomez. I feel so sorry for the lad regarding this new injury, or I suppose the injury that he played through. We were talking about Daniel Sturridge on a podcast, playing through the pain barrier. Well, Joe Gomez certainly proved himself there. Not only that, he does actually seem like a fantastic footballer. I really hope Joe Gomez can come back to pull fitter than ever, have a good couple of seasons, not be injured, and when we'll only see the best of him.
Maine said that Brewster is the best talent that he's seen coming through our youth system since Robbie Fowler, and again that's a big shout. Wow. And I'll back him on that one.
Well, considering Steven Gerrard came after that, that's a huge shout.
Yeah, no, that is a fair shout. Gerrard, they said, just you couldn't but put him into the first team. He was just showing people up in training, and when he started getting training with the first team, he was putting Paul Ince in his place, apparently.
Yeah, that's right. Was it Gary Mack as well, who I kind of had to tell him in training, you just need to calm down, Stevie. And he was like, I can't, mate, sorry. This is programmed into me. It's who I am.
The junior's on fire tonight. He said, "Dave, do you rate Emil Forsberg?" And last night Christian had mentioned to me that Liverpool in Sweden anyway, where he resides, they said the Swedish media has been all over Liverpool for Emil Forsberg.
I do rate him. I think he's a very intelligent midfielder. Again, it's a good shout again by the junior. Yes, we have discussed this, but he's played with Naby Keita for a while now, so they've known each other's game inside out. But yeah, very quick answer is I think he's a very, very intelligent midfielder.
Yeah, I rate him. He played very well again tonight for Sweden.
He did play very well, yeah.
He was starved of possession at times as well, so I thought he did really well to hold up play when he got the ball, and he looked like he could turn sharply, and he looked a very intelligent footballer. And I've seen him play for Leipzig. Obviously it's a completely different situation there,
Yeah.
and he stood out for me as well during games there. I know Christian speaks very, very highly of him.
Yeah, hasn't he been like awarded maybe the best midfielder in Sweden the last 3 or 4 years, or 3 out of the 4 years or something like that? So
And did he win? Did he win an award similarly in the Bundesliga 2 seasons ago? I don't think it was this season. I think it was the season before that he might have won an award in the Bundesliga.
yeah, he could have got the best midfielder, because they do that in the Bundesliga as well. They kind of have the best midfielder, best striker, defend. But yeah, he could have got the best midfielder a couple of seasons ago.
Maine just wants to double back and said that he meant striking talent. Sorry.
No problem. Yeah.
But I fully back you, Maine, mate, so no need to apologise. I rate him just as highly as you do.
Yeah, I do as well. I rate Brewster very highly, yeah.
Dave, the junior wants to know, he's on fire tonight, I tell you what. He wants to know, rank Keita in terms of Premier League midfielders, i.e. top 5. I've got another few players here for you as well, Dave, so settle in.
Where would I have Nabil Fekir? Look, he's
Keita.
going to off. Okay, sorry, Keita. Sorry, lads. He is something that you really haven't seen before regarding his energy alone. Apart from the fact that he, in my opinion, he's as tough as Graham Souness. He also has just a beautiful touch. He really is very, very intelligent, very skillful as well. Can get a goal. I'm not going to say where I'd like to think he's going to be the number one, but let's just say you're in for a really pleasant surprise if you haven't watched Keita play for Leipzig. You're in for a treat. You really are. He's going to be a fan's favourite from the off.
At times, Dave, we often talk about players coming into Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp and think that they're going to take 2-3 months before they're up to speed and Klopp is happy with them.
Yeah.
I would class Keita as a type of player like Sadio Mane that doesn't need very long to get back up to speed. They're naturally fit players, and he's got an amazing engine.
Yeah, he'll be straight into that number 8 role in the Liverpool team. Absolutely no doubt in my mind. He'll be one of the first teams one of the first names on the team sheet.
If I haven't decided yet if I'm going to get a name on the back of my shirt this season, because it's not something I generally do, but if I do, it's down to 2 players. It's Naby Keita or Andy Robertson. They're the 2 shouts for me for the name on the back of my shirt.
Rob would be a good one, yeah. But is Keita, is he confirmed that it's the number 8 jersey that he'll be getting?
I believe to an extent it is because of that business that he set up. The Naby Keita
That's right. Yeah.
That UK business. And I said I had a couple of questions for you. Well,
yeah.
I wasn't lying. Lubac77 asks, can you ask Dave about, I'm going to try and pronounce this one correctly, Tilo Kehrer, as he looks a decent centre-back at Schalke?
Tilo Kehrer.
Tilo, Tilo Kehrer, Kehrer.
Unless it's being pronounced wrong. Hold on now. I'm just trying to think of Schalke's players. I think it's Tilly. Yeah, Tilly Kehrer. What it must be again. He's a big lad as well. I think he's another 6'2". I think Schalke signed him from Stuttgart a few years ago now. But he's a good player. He's a good centre back. Schalke are just hemorrhaging players though. I don't know what goes on at that club. They seem to.
They did very well this season though, didn't they? To get back in the Champions League.
Finished second. Yeah, they finished. They did do very well. Like Goretzka leaving was not only that it was a strange one, but how many times have Schalke let their players just run down their contracts and leaving a free? Like Matip was one. He was really one of their best players before he left. Goretzka now we've seen is leaving as well. He's obviously going to Bayern. But Kehra, yeah, he's a good centre back. I just think if you gave me the likes of, let's say, De Ligt or Kehra, I'd be snapping your hand off for De Ligt.
There's a question here about a Hoffenheim player, but I want to just take a second to talk about Hoffenheim because their manager has agreed to become the new Leipzig manager at the end of next season, Dave.
That's right, yeah, Nagelsmann. So it's not surprising that he's moving up because like Hoffenheim, they're an okay team. They're not huge. They're in a tiny place in Germany, a tiny village, which is how they've got the support is beyond me. But there you go. But yeah, it's not a surprise. Nagelsmann, he's only a kid. Like he's 30 years old, Nagelsmann.
I don't like him, I have to say. I don't know if it was his whole attitude around coming to Liverpool that turned me off him, or the fact that he wears a gilet on the sidelines. I just don't like him.
He dresses like a bit of a bellend now. In fairness, no, you're right there. But he was really ranked as well, or linked, should I say, with Bayern Munich. I don't think Bayern Munich wanted to take the chance yet. Excuse me.
He was mentioned as well with Arsenal and PSG.
That's right. I just simply think the reason why he hasn't got a top job yet, even though, look, no disrespect to Hoffenheim, they are a top club in Germany. They're really good, and same as Leipzig. I'm talking about the next stratosphere up, your Liverpools or your Arsenals or your PSGs is his age. But I do think Nagelsmann will be at Bayern Munich even if it's 10 years' time, he'll only be 40. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. Really, really is.
So back to the Hoffenheim player that Louis asks about is Karim Dembélé.
Oh yeah. He
wants to know what your thoughts are on him.
There's better again, of course. Look, there's a lot of better players out there. He's 25, 24, I think. He actually played for Hamburg early on in his career. He's got a couple of caps for Germany, even though he is Turkish. Well, he was born.
That's not unusual.
No, it's not, and he actually played for Turkey all his youth career as well, all youth level. He's okay.
Has he been posing for pictures with Erdogan lately? With the rest of them?
No. Oh no, that was just crazy. But
although Mo Salah's been in a few iffy pictures as well lately.
He has. Yeah, he was. What did he get the freedom of? I don't know who it was. I just read something very quickly today, but
was it the Kazakh?
Something like that.
Oh,
yeah.
No, Chechnya.
Chechnya
right. Leader.
Yeah. But Dembélé, yeah, he's a good midfielder. Just again, there'd be a lot better options out there than him. Yeah, that's my opinion on him.
Lallana, the bad elf, wants to know what our thoughts are on the future of Adam Lallana, and he's a player for me that's right on the fringe of me saying move him on. I think the only thing that would stop me saying time to sell Adam Lallana, Dave, is the fact that Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain won't be back until November time. If Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain was going to be ready for pre-season, I would say with Fekir probably coming in, with Naby Keita coming in, Fabinho there, Hendo obviously being there, Jimmy Milner there, Gini Wijnaldum there, I just don't see. I know he's a different type of player, and he's a player on his day that has that little bit of guile and creativity that we lacked at times, but I just think he's 30 odd years of age now, and there's probably one more decent sized move left in his career, and you could probably get a decent sum from.
Yeah, I think it'd be one of these ones that, and it's a great point again, especially regarding Oxlade-Chamberlain. We'll probably keep him until January, but that goes in two ways. You can kind of say, does that really get him into a shop window to get another really big move, or if he just keeps on playing really well, why not keep him? But he's a good player, Adam Lallana. I really like his attitude. Really like his attitude. He's already back in pre-season training, doing his own thing, and that's what you want. You want players who, obviously, they get paid a lot of money. We know that, but you want players who can show a bit of, what's the word? Kind of going above and beyond and showing a bit of dedication to the cause.
Charlie Heat wants to know, what would you make of a more robust winger slash midfielder, and he cites Rebic as a good example. Said he's had an excellent season. I suppose a player that we could also talk about there, and I know he's been linked to that with Manchester United, is the Croatian winger. What's the guy's name again? Perisic.
Oh yeah,
I think they're the type of players Charlie might be talking about.
Rebic. Yeah, he had a good season with Frankfurt. He could be again a very, very good player for Liverpool. He is a decent winger. Croatia are one of these teams who are going to go really far in this World Cup as well. The thing I'd say about him is, does he score enough goals? That would be my only question mark over him. I'm not even sure. Well, I don't think he will be on the market. I think he was on loan at Frankfurt for a couple of years. I think he's only just signed for Frankfurt, come out from Fiorentina. So I don't think he'd be going anywhere.
I'm just reading comments here about Lyon president Jean-Michel Aulas, and he said that he's blamed Liverpool for the breakdown of Nabil Fekir's transfer, and says Real Madrid are now interested in the 24-year-old. He goes on to say, it was anticipated at one stage that he could leave for Liverpool. I'd given him the green light. He said the transfer didn't happen because things took too long.
Well, see, again, this is where I get lost. Is how did it take too long if the player already agreed personal terms to Liverpool?
Had his medical, posed in the shirt, did an interview.
It's a really straight. You can already see that Fekir is really pissed off. He's getting loads of questions now. Pretty much every question now is about his knee, and he doesn't seem to be too happy about that. Again, I feel sorry for the lad. I think this Aulas, he's a mouthpiece at the best of times. If you could just stay a bit shut up and just keep his counsel a bit better. Again, but we definitely haven't seen the last of this. Definitely not seen the last of this.
If you're watching this stream, you're enjoying the stream, you're enjoying the channel, please hit that like button and the subscribe button and help us grow the channel. I'm sorry, I got to do this once every 40 minutes or so because Connor will be on my back if I don't. He'll be telling me, Craig, people need to be part of the solution, Dave, not the problem.
Not the problem, exactly. So be part of the solution.
Retro Unilim has made a very good comment, and he wants to know your thoughts, or I suppose our thoughts, on Chelsea using a loophole to sack Conte and break his contract. I think he's referring to the whole Costa situation, or the text they sent Costa, and if they go through with that tells me everything I need to know about that club. I mean, the Mourinho situation was dodgy as fuck as well, as far as I'm concerned, the whole Iver Cañero incident, and if they go and sack Conte over this, it's just ridiculous, because if they were going to sack him, they should have done it at the time. So to try and save a few bob and do it this way just stinks.
Chelsea are in trouble. There's a lot of too many problems that club for. If I was a Chelsea fan, that I'd be really worried about. Abramovich not getting the UK visa, number one. Number two, I suppose, is there's a lot of talk now that he's bored at the club. He might just call in, and if he does, Chelsea Football Club own Roman Abramovich £1.2 billion. I wouldn't like to be a Chelsea fan.
Football Club.
Bye Chelsea Football Club, exactly. Unless some ridiculously wealthy Arab or Chinese or some kind of consortium comes in, which is not beyond all the realms of expectation. But I wouldn't like to be a Chelsea fan in a good day, but to be that there'd be a lot of worried Chelsea fans out there now because their club is not going in the right direction.
Yeah, when they pulled the plug on the stadium, the stadium was horrible, if I'm being honest. It looked like a public library or something. I didn't like that design of that stadium one bit. No,
it wasn't great now, in fairness, and that's a real alarm bell, because Chelsea need to expand or do something, because Stamford Bridge is not big enough for that for the football club. What is it, 40? Is it even 40,000 Stamford Bridge? I'm not sure. But that's a huge worry for them to have that. You're right, to the stadium to be plugged, because a lot of money and time like that Chelsea new stadium has been going on for what, 4 or 5 years now that they've been doing something or going to be doing something.
And I imagine London City Council or Chelsea Council or whoever the hell it is in that area, I imagine they're pretty pissed off over this, because there would have been a lot of planning consultation and meetings and
Oh God, yeah.
local people consulted and money that went into this. So I imagine for the plug to be pulled on it now, they're going to kind of look a bit silly as well.
Absolutely,
Back Chelsea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good show here actually from, where is it gone? Sorry guys, I'm just trying to read through the comments. There was something that caught my eye again that I wanted to say was absolutely fantastic. Oh God, where I can remember the comment, but I just want to give credit to the person that wrote it. So bear with me while I just flick through these. Where the hell is it gone? Oh look, I can't find it, but whoever it was said that Nabil Fekir was basically Vieira and Keane rolled into one.
Except I think he's better than them, and that's the gospel honest truth. If you haven't, I'm not going to talk about him too much apart from this, but I just cannot wait for him to see him play, because he's just going to break people. It's going to be brilliant.
Dada made a really good comment, so thank you for joining the conversation, mate. He said he doesn't think Liverpool need a player like Nabil Fekir. Interesting.
It's a good argument, because obviously he does give you another option, but where in the front three is Nabil Fekir going to slot in? Because he certainly isn't taking the lads that are there now their opportunity. Unless we play, a 4-3-3 with, let's say, Fabinho holding that midfield, and then you have Naby Keita and then Fekir playing behind the front three. I can't see him getting there ahead of Mane or Salah or Bobby, to be honest.
Really lovely comment from Nathan Carter. Thank you, mate. He says, this man's channel deserves more. They produce quality content. Thank you so much, mate. And we're kind of new, so I'm sure hopefully our numbers will pick up as we move along, but it's not about it. Well, I suppose it is about numbers to an extent, Dave, because we want to reach as many fans as possible. Yeah. But that's the whole idea of this. It's not a money maker for us. This is just about us being Liverpool fans, wanting to chat with Liverpool fans all around the world. And Dave, I know on Twitter I've met some absolutely amazing people, and people I never would have known before if it wasn't for Liverpool Football Club.
Yeah, exactly. It's a global club. This is great as well. I really enjoy doing this. And it's good. It's good to meet other people. I can see, you naming off names of the people in the chat. I've heard that person and a few other people on before, but it's great. And the questions we get in here are absolutely fantastic. And it's good to have a good debate about football.
You know what, Dave, I've said before, I've learned as much from the guys on here as I probably would have ever given them an information, if not more. I mean, the people that come on here and chat with us every night, I'm talking about the Junior, Flatman, Lubac, there's so many, Rod, Max, Escapado, Brian, there's so many, and I've probably forgotten a lot of them, but it's so great to see them coming back every night and interacting with us and taking the time. I mean, we spoke before about podcasts, and I asked you before where you first heard our podcast, Dave, but to think that somebody in Germany or somebody in Australia is driving along in their car or sitting at home with a computer and tuning in to listen to content we've made about Liverpool, it's absolutely amazing.
It is absolutely, and that's just, again, the questions we get in here. We have some very, very. I think Liverpool have always been credited to having some very knowledgeable fans, but we get some cracking questions in here regarding, I suppose, global football. Obviously, if I wasn't living in Germany, I wouldn't be able to answer half the lads' questions, to be honest with you. It'd be like asking me, I suppose, players in the French league or the Dutch league. I think we had one there, and I couldn't really tell you the Mexican guy. I really haven't seen him enough to give a good answer, I suppose, or a genuine answer. But as I said, we have some cracking guys on here who really do ask some really good questions, and as you said, we learn from them as well, which is fantastic.
I see a question in here from DZB, and he said, is Sturridge, Wilson, Ings and Mignolet all for sale? So let's take these one by one, Dave. Sturridge, I would say absolutely. I'd
say if Liverpool could get Daniel Sturridge off their books to another club, they'd let him go on a free transfer.
Wilson?
I don't think Harry Wilson is no. I'd be surprised. I'm hoping he's not. I think he's a decent future.
Danny Ings is the really interesting one here. Um, the guy, no, there's no doubt for me that Danny Ings is a Premier League footballer. If you put his
Mm,
injuries aside, his time at Burnley, he was really, really good. And when he's come on for Liverpool, he's looked the part to an extent. I mean, I don't think he's quite of the caliber of a front three and what we might
correct.
need, but I do think there's a. I'm trying to think of clubs throughout the Premier League that I'm not going to say West Ham because he's probably too good for West Ham. He deserves a better move than West Ham,
Mm,
but there probably are clubs there that would suit him and that he'd flourish at. And I really hope, whatever happens with Danny Ings, that he just gets a run of games without injury wherever he ends up.
yeah, absolutely. And again, seems like a really good guy, a genuine guy who just wants to play all the time. Um, I could see Danny Ings moving back down where he's from, probably the likes of Bournemouth, maybe. Would that be?
Interesting, yeah. I was
Yeah,
thinking Southampton at the time, but a similar type of area, Bournemouth,
yeah,
Southampton.
it is.
Would he even, could he even go back? Burnley under Sean Dyche?
Possibly, yeah, possibly. What do we pay for him after the tribunal fee was fixed?
8.5, I
Was it
think.
8.5?
It
Yeah,
was a
okay.
record anyway.
It was a record tribunal. That's right. Yeah.
It took fucking
Um,
long enough as well.
um, again, if Danny Ings' attitude or skills were the same as his attitude, he'd be a world class player.
And the final one there is Simon Mignolet, and I'm going to say that motherfucker had better be for sale.
Gone,
Um,
gone. Good luck.
Look, I don't slate Liverpool players as a rule, but my thoughts on Simon Mignolet I've never hidden. Don't like him. Don't even like looking at him. Don't like anything about the guy except the fact that he seems a good human being. I'll say that from him. I mean, no, no, thank you for me and Mignolet. I think I
But
probably found him a little bit too boring, if that makes any sense.
he is a bit boring, all right. Yeah, but we were talking about this in regarding the Liverpool goalkeeping coach, Akterberg, and I was kind of thinking with the goalkeepers that we've had in, and I'll name one goalkeeper in particular who was absolutely useless at Liverpool, but has gone on to have a very, very good career, and that's Brad Jones. And he's a completely different goalkeeper to what he was at Liverpool.
Is he
Completely
still at
different.
PSV or Feyenoord?
PSV.
Is it Feyenoord or PSV? I think it's
Is it P-
Feyenoord, isn't it?
Um,
I think he was with Dirk out at Feyenoord. I could be wrong.
could be Feyenoord. Yeah, he is. It is Feyenoord. Sorry. But he's gone on to have a really good career, and he's actually looked really, really good in goal for Feyenoord. It's just, this lad he played something like 10 games to Liverpool. He went to Bradford City then, and then he ended up at Feyenoord. A top, Dutch team. And as I said, he's done really, really well for them.
Another example of that, I suppose, would be Leipzig's goalkeeper leaving Liverpool.
Correct. Yeah.
Again, didn't look like he was going to make a career at the top level. He leaves Liverpool and joins Leipzig, a club that are definitely on the up and up.
Correct. Yeah. What's his name again? The Hungarian lad.
Peter Galaxy.
That's it. Thank you. Yeah. Again, really, really good career at Leipzig. He's their number one keeper, and he'll be the number one goalkeeper next season as well. Is the problem the goalkeeping coach that we have there?
Oh, we've spoke about this before, and it's hard to say that he is because I keep trotting out the same outline that every manager speaks highly of him, but he has to be part of the problem. He has to be. I mean, no keeper has progressed under him. They've only gone
No,
backwards.
backwards. Correct. Yeah, absolutely, completely backwards. And excuse me, sorry. Brad Jones is a prime example of that. Prime example of not doing well at Liverpool. Really, suffering from a bit of either from a lack of confidence and something like that. Then going to Feyenoord and really, really doing well for them.
I think I see a few new people here in the chat, which is fantastic. If you just joined the chat, I hope you're enjoying yourself and welcome. You'll have some great comments here with the lads, some great chat. Thank you for joining. But if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, please do so. I see a comment there from, I'm gonna call you Finn, so excuse me if I just don't want to mispronounce your name. So Finn wants to know, what's your thoughts on Origi and Solanke next season, Dave?
Origi, I'd say is gone. Solanke, no, I can see Dominic Solanke staying at Liverpool. We mentioned this as well. I think personally, Solanke is an intelligent footballer. He's just been unlucky, in front of the goal and putting the ball into the back of the net, which I know is the most important thing for a striker to do. But look at the positions he gets himself into. I think he's physically very strong as well. Origi had a woeful season again. The end of the season for Wolfsburg was okay, but he's been ordinary is giving him a compliment, to be honest with you.
It seems that Jurgen Klopp rates Solanke, doesn't it? It seems that he thinks there's a player there.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a player there as well. He was a brave lad as well to make that move from Chelsea. He only wanted to go to Liverpool. What's a real shame, and I know we've mentioned this as well, is getting it's not a real shame, but it is when the timing came, is he got the goal against Brighton. You felt that if there was a few more games to go at the end of the season, he would have banged in a couple more.
I'm going to go through all the questions here in the chat that I can see one by one, because I know at times, Dave, we speak about our own thoughts and we just go off on random topics, but I do want to, I appreciate that the guys are taking the time here to put the questions in. So there's a fair few for us to get through. I'm going to start with Harry Carling's question, and he wants to know, what else do you think we need to bring in this transfer window that would make us happy with the window in general? And I'll start off, Dave, by saying a goalkeeper. The goalkeeper for me, if we were to just sign Alisson now and nothing else happened, I wouldn't call this window a disaster.
No, yeah, a goalkeeper is number one. And as I said, to go back, my number two priority then is a centre back. I really do think we're so light in that department.
And we'd probably both be in agreement then with a wide player or
yes,
wide forward.
A wide forward, yeah, really wide attacking midfielder, wide forward, absolutely, yeah.
DCB says, is Real really after Sadio Mane? And he mentions 70 million in Keylor Navas.
I'd say there's a lot of clubs interested in Sadio Mane. Liverpool, I don't think, would entertain any bid, no matter how much it is or who it's from, for Sadio Mane. So I don't think we've anything to worry about there.
I think all this talk of Sadio Mane in Real Madrid is his agent just looking for an improved contract for the player.
Yeah, but again, we've mentioned this before. I think a new contract for both Salah and Mane they're probably very close to being done. They probably just wait till after the World Cup when they're back at the club again for pre-season. But
I mean, the club have learned their lesson after what happened with Raheem Sterling when they didn't reward him with an improved contract after the season he had. I mean, I think they've learned their lesson, and I don't think there's any truth. Well, there might be truth to their interest, as you said, Dave, because he's a top-class player, and all clubs are going to have interest in top-class players. But as Dave also said, I can't see him moving on. Right, going through, I've already done that one. Brian reckons that Ings could go to a good mid-table solid club like Leicester, which is a good show.
That is a good shout, yeah. And
imagine him and Vardy, they'd be two hard-working players, wouldn't they?
I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, Jamie Vardy, but I think he'd fit Jurgen's Klopp system very well, just with the amount of pressing that the lad does.
Oh, he's unbelievable. He's an absolute... Yeah. I'd almost liken him to Diego Costa to an extent, in that he is just a pain in your arse. Yeah. He just never gives up on anything, and he's one of very few players I've seen in world football that can hold an entire defence on his own.
He can, absolutely, yeah. He's done it to us in the past. I really do rate him as a footballer, Jamie Vardy, and for his career, the way he's kind of from Fleetwood. Was it Fleetwood Town? Yeah.
Yeah.
Making it all the way up is
from a fish factory or something, wasn't it? Yeah. He started in originally. I don't like the guy one bit. I have to say that, but respect has to be there for him.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever happen as well. Again, he'd probably be too old for FSG.
The junior thinks that Grujic should only be loaned to Cardiff, that we shouldn't sell him.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I was hoping he would have been maybe, or the worst case scenario would is as a sweetener in the Strakosha deal. Sorry, again, the Lazio keeper. Let's call him Bob.
We'll go with Tom. Tom's easy because that's his first name, Thomas Strakosha. Yeah,
it is. There you go. Okay. And then we done something there as well, and then the next night it was Goal.com announced that AC Milan were interested in signing him. I'd like to see if he does go on loan next season, or this season coming up. Sorry, he has to be starting. He has to be getting about 30 games next season, and he has to be showing himself why he thinks he has a future at Liverpool Football Club.
You know what? I reckon that the Italian league would be a good fit for Marco Grujic.
I do.
We've seen a lot of Eastern Europeans go over there and make it a massive success of themselves.
Yeah, that's right. It's of course look, it's a slower league. It's not as physically tough as the Premier League, and while I think Grujic is a very good touch and can be a very good football player, the one thing he does lack is pace. He isn't the quickest player in the world.
Another question comes in from Joseph Reardon, and Joseph says, "Hi lads, good work, but what about Jack Wilshere on a free?"
Not a chance. Sorry to... No, he missed a glass again. If we're having issues with FEKIR's medical, Wilshere would just crumble under Klopp's system. He just won't have the legs to be playing any kind of part, and especially with the money that he'd be looking for as well as a free transfer. No, not for me, mate. I'm sorry.
I have to say, I feel very sorry as well for Jack Wilshere, because he's a very talented footballer, and at times he's looked a different level when he's been at Arsenal, when he's been fit, and especially, I suppose, early on in his career. But we can't take another gamble on a player like that.
No,
we just can't. Not after what's happened with Danny Sturridge. We already have issues now. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Adam Lallana hasn't had a great run. Joe Gomez. I think we've had our fill of sick no players, and I'm not calling those guys sick no players. I didn't mean it in that sense, but I don't think, again, we're not doubting his quality as a footballer, but it just wouldn't be a clever move. And for a club to go and sign Jack Wilshere, it's going to be someone willing to take a gamble and hope that they can get a good season or two out of him, and it ends up looking like an absolute bargain.
Correct, exactly. And the thing is, Jack Wilshere as well. Excuse me. He doesn't really look after himself.
Everton.
There you go. Yeah, but as a footballer, he likes to have a fag. He likes to have a pint. If he maybe cut all of that stuff out, would he be a better footballer for it, and would he be more fitter?
Yeah, it's an interesting show. I mean, there's a lot of Italian players though that smoke.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Let me just see, what else have we got here. Sorry, just going through the comments. The junior said, "Why do we give Solanke to Rangers?" I hope he means on loan and sellings.
Yeah, I'd only be putting Solanke out on loan. But I don't
give him to a higher level club than that as well, if I was going to put him out on loan.
Yeah. I don't think Dominic Solanke would go to Rangers, even on loan.
Oh, here's an exciting one from Junior that really got me very excited a while ago. Ryan Sessegnon. He said Ryan Sessegnon in 1 to 2 years. I think he would have moved if Fulham hadn't got promoted this season.
Correct.
But I really do see him giving it a chance with Fulham, because it's his club.
Yeah. It's a pity Fulham did get promoted, sorry, but I would have loved to see him at Liverpool. I think he's an outstanding young footballer. Yeah, really good.
It's us and Spurs, I believe, that are leading the chase for Ryan Sessegnon.
Are we still heavily linked with them though?
I believe so, yes. I
Okay.
believe,
Okay.
and I think it's probably fair to say that if he became available, most clubs would be willing to look at him, and I'd almost go as far as to say, if he has a season this year, anything like the one he had last year, clubs are going to be just putting a blank check down in front of Fulham and saying, "What do you want?"
Yeah. How many goals did he get? Was it 13 or 14 from a left back?
Calling him a left back though, I suppose we're being very liberal at that.
We are.
I've seen him played everywhere along that left hand side.
Just a very naturally gifted footballer who has a very good head on his shoulders as well.
Escapado says Wilshere to West Ham, and you know what? I can imagine him in a West Ham shirt.
You could see that every day of the week. Yep.
Yeah,
Great
that's
shout.
a good shout. Yeah, really good show.
Or even Bournemouth again. When he was at loan in Bournemouth, apparently, if you're led to believe reports, he enjoyed his time down there. He enjoyed working with Eddie Howe. So.
Thomas Boland says Wilshere would get injured signing the contract.
He probably would, yeah.
He wouldn't be able to do a no-look one like Bobby.
No.
Brian says Rangers are becoming like Liverpool B.
Okay, yeah, I can't believe any football club would touch John Flanagan, but there you go.
Yeah, we had a little chat about this last night. 2-year deal for John Flanagan at Glasgow Rangers. From his point of view, I can completely understand him making the move. I mean, one, it gets him out of an area that, he probably wants to take a break from, gives him a fresh start. But I also said I'd be very interested to know what type of money he's on there, Dave.
I can't imagine it being anything huge. Rangers still haven't got too much money. Like, would he be on? I don't know. I could be miles out here. Would he be on 10 grand a week? Which is still not bad wage. Like, for if you look at an ordinary Joe Soap.
I thought less, if I'm being honest. That was the
right.
figure I asked myself. It was exactly that. I think 10 grand a week, but I don't know why, but in my head I settled on 6. And there's obviously no base of reality in that whatsoever.
Yeah.
Just something else here. Max says Klopp wanted Brandt ahead of Salah, and that is true. Julian Brandt was Klopp's first choice last summer.
He was.
That's
right.
And then when it looked like Julian Brandt wasn't an option for Liverpool for whatever reason, I believe the scouts and the scouting team said to him, look, just have a look at Salah. He ticks every box. And obviously Klopp knew about Mo Salah, because it was no secret who Mo Salah was. But he said, he went out of his way to say that the guys really, really pushed him towards Mo Salah.
They did. That's right, Jen. We're really glad that he did, because I personally think Julian Brandt is a fantastic footballer, but I'd have Mo Salah every day of the week before him.
Is it weird that Julian Brandt has a head that annoys me and looks like, I don't know, he just looks angry or pissed off, or there's just something about him. He just looks like a Manchester United player to me.
He's is it just that little blonde head of hair he has?
I don't know what it is about him. There's just something.
A spoilt little kid kind of thing.
Yeah, something like that. I don't want to go as far as to say superior race here, but I think he almost has that look of,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
My shit doesn't stink kind of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, look, he could be the nicest young lad in the world. I don't know him from Adam. Flatman thinks we missed a trick by not getting Ryan Sessegnon last season for a lot less than now. I think we tried. If I'm being honest, I genuinely think we've been looking at Ryan Sessegnon for 18 months, if not longer, and we're not the only ones.
No. He's obviously, he won, I suppose, himself how many individual accolades last season. He's just a child. His incredibly high ceiling as well.
To be nominated for Young Player of the Year and be at a championship club.
That's right. That speaks volumes. That's all you need to know. Exactly. Great job.
The junior says he hears Jack Grealish rumours. Hopefully no. Yeah, I think that's absolute bullshit. I think Jack Grealish wants to move. I think Aston Villa want Jack Grealish to move on because they want the money, because they need the money.
They need the money, yeah.
Again, I've probably said this club a lot, but he looks like a Spurs signing to me.
Hopefully.
Spurs seem to like that player. Like, I'm going to use Christian Eriksen as an example here. The player that they just think other clubs have overlooked something on, and that there's a talent there, and for whatever reason it hasn't been brought out with the player, and they've been quite successful at it sometimes. I mean, again, Son, brilliant buy. Christian Eriksen, fantastic buy. I mean, if you could ask me to bring somebody in now as a Coutinho replacement, reasonably proven, I'd have Christian Eriksen every day of the week.
He's a very good footballer, yeah.
Destroyed us as well. Destroyed our World Cup dreams.
Yeah. Destroyed them for Denmark. Son, didn't he play for? Where did Spurs sign him from? Was it Leverkusen as well?
I know he was at a Dutch club. I was in PSV or somewhere, and he's been around. To be fair, Youngmin Son. I think he's been at a couple of clubs, and he's been linked to Liverpool for a very, very long time before he joined Spurs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's a very good footballer. He really is.
He is a very good footballer. Yeah, I like him.
Charlie wouldn't want Grealish, and I don't think you're alone, mate.
No.
He's another big time Charlie, I think, by the looks of him.
I think the way now, of course, Jack Grealish he's free to pick, whatever country he can play for. But I was disappointed the way he rejected Ireland.
As was I. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because call us like Jack Grealish. I know he was born in the UK or in England, but I'm not sure. Is his dad Irish? I know his parents are both Irish or Irish descent. So I was disappointed, yeah, when he didn't declare himself for Ireland.
Yeah, it was disappointing. Joseph asks, what about Fred, or Bernard, sorry, from Shakhtar?
Yeah, another good player, but would he? Obviously, I think with these players as well, um, it go back to a point I made a few weeks ago. If they were so good, why haven't they been linked with other clubs before? Why haven't they moved away from, let's say, the Ukrainian league, where Juventus or Barcelona or Bayern Munich or Liverpool or whoever have come in for them? That's all. That's the only question mark I'd have there.
A really good point from Ahmed Richard. He says it's cool how Jurgen Klopp is building a squad with good personalities as well as good players. He cites the background checks and all the way Klopp looks into their character, their background, and
That's right.
yeah, it's a really really good point, and I think it's something that at times clubs overlook. I suppose more and more clubs, Dave, in this day and age, are looking into it. But Klopp really does love a sit down with a player before he signs
He
them.
does. Yeah, and he does. We mentioned the kind of Liverpool kind of being like a family as well, and that kind of environment for players to come into. And I think we do have that. You can see pretty much every training picture, the lads are smiling, and everyone seems to be getting on really well. But Klopp does love not only that kind of happy personality, but someone who can get stuck in as well and help others out. I don't know if everyone, but Klopp is a huge socialist. He believes in helping people. It's his core value.
As is many Liverpoolians.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's no surprise that kind of personality that we've been bringing into the club is working well for Liverpool now as it is.
Lubac agrees. Sorry, he says Julian Brandt does have an annoying face. Charlie wants us to have a look at Ruben Loftus-Cheek if Chelsea were to, go into the shits and need to move on players, and he looked an absolute beast when he
I
came
like
on
him.
the other night.
I like the look of him. I'm looking forward to watching him now. I think England are playing on Monday, is it, or is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully he gets a look in as well, because I do like the look of the lad. Yeah.
3-1 for Harry Kane, by the way, to score in the first half tomorrow. I'm all over that.
Did I see something today though? The England actual on Twitter. Obviously they landed wherever they're playing, and there was a picture with Gareth Southgate and Jordan Henderson, and under it was a comment by whoever does social media for England, the skipper and the gaffer and the skipper talking. I thought Harry Kane was meant to be the England captain.
He certainly is, yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Look, I've made no secret of my thoughts that Jordan Henderson should have been England captain all day long.
Apart from the fact you can't understand what Harry Kane says at the best of times, but that game that stuck out for me, what I was saying, is the Costa Rica game, the friendly. Henderson was just barking orders at people. He was telling them where he wants them to be, what he wants, what he expects them to do as well. He's a very good leader, Jordan Henderson. I think he deserves a lot more praise as well, because he's a fantastic footballer.
Just going back to Ruben Loftus-Cheek, I know he was very, very highly thought of at his time at Palace as well.
Yeah, he was. What did Chelsea pay for him again? I don't know.
I can't remember. I honestly don't pay that much heed to what Chelsea do, and they sign so many feckin' players every year and loan so many out that it's hard to keep track.
It is. They have a ridiculous amount of players out, which I'd imagine will be stopping soon as well.
He has a huge future. I don't think there's any doubt he's going to be a top Premier League player wherever he ends up in the future.
Correct.
He is quality. Harry Carling says, "What's your thoughts on Shea Ojo?"
I think he'll be moved on. I don't think Shea has cut the mustard. It's unfortunate, but it's a strange one with Shea Ojo.
It was him that was on loan at Sunderland, wasn't it? At the end of last season.
No, that was Ilaria.
Was it Ejaria? I always get confused which one of them was on loan. I thought it was Shea Ojo.
I could be wrong as well. Maybe our highly educated listeners will be able to tell us.
Whichever one of them it was. I've heard a couple of Sunderland fans discussing and saying that absolute letdown, really disappointed with the progress, and they were expecting a bit more.
That's right. That's right.
The junior said the Klopp's building a squad with great friendships like Mane and Keita, and it is interesting to look back and to think that they played together.
That's right. They
during
played together
their
in
time at Salzburg.
Austria. That's right. Yeah.
Because there was a nice picture of them going around when we were looking to sign Keita originally. The two of them like side by side, smiley faced.
Well, even that, if we go back to a question that was asked earlier on the stream, will we sell Mane? I think there's your answer. I think Sadio Mane, as happy and all as he is at Liverpool, will be an even happier man once Naby Keita is in the door there.
The junior said son did come from Leverkusen.
Oh yeah, okay. Cheers, Junior.
Ahmed says, I gather this is aimed at me. Wouldn't Dele Alli be a better fit than Ericsson? Yeah, we really fucked up on Dele Alli.
We did, yeah.
Like the stories I heard on why that fell through. Apparently, we moved the goalposts at the last minute on Dele Alli. We had a fee agreed, a wage agreed, and whatever we tried to then when he came to sign the contract. Apparently, this is what I've heard. We said no, that wasn't your flat wage. This was an incentive based wage, so you have to hit this, and this to hit that. And look, we look like absolute mugs now for not signing Dele Alli.
Yeah, and it's not the first big player Liverpool Football Club has missed out on over the years.
No, we apparently the club weren't willing to pay 10 million for Ronaldo.
That's right. They wouldn't agree something on his wages. Peter Schmeichel was another one. Cantona. There's been a few.
David Villa.
David Villa, that's right.
Who else? There was a couple of more players, wasn't there? During his time, Benitez's time at the club that he wanted to bring in. Rod says Julian Brandt can't grow a beard. Don't sign him. Do you know what? I'd be in that club, Rod. I can't grow a beard either, buddy. I have like patches of hair all over my face. I'm like a prepubescent child. I just. So yeah, I'd be one of those people that wouldn't shave for 2 weeks and would think that I'm getting stubbly and growing a beard, and then I'd look in the mirror and go, "You're a joke. You're not a real man at all, Craig. What are you at?" So I shave my head instead to try and make myself look more like a man. Mickey Forrest says Loftus-Cheek is a great show, and there seems to be a lot of people in the chat here that regard Ruben Loftus-Cheek very highly indeed.
Yeah, that's good that our sentiments are being echoed. And I do like him. As I said, hopefully he gets a look in now tomorrow as well, because I'll have more. I just like him. I just think he's a good solid player.
I will probably stay online, guys, for another 20-30 minutes, but I know, Dave, you are
ahead of us.
I
was just going to say.
You're an hour ahead of us, so if you need to head off...
I'll make a move, guys, yeah.
Thank you so much, and
My
for
pleasure.
all the questions you guys sent in again. I'm sure we'll talk to Dave very soon. Sure, you'll be on the Cop Council podcast, Dave, tomorrow?
I'll be on tomorrow, mate, yeah.
So we will, of course, upload that on here, and that's our big podcast of the week. That's our flagship podcast, I think is the right word, Dave.
Yes.
So again, thank you to Dave for joining us tonight again.
Pleasure.
And good night, Dave.
Cheers, all the best, guys. Thank you.
Right, what else have we got here in the chat? Let's keep going for a while. I think I've another half hour or so in me. Klopp not only wants good players but decent human beings, Thomas Boland says, and it's a good shout, mate. It is great to see how much research clubs put into players, and I suppose they have to in this day and age, guys, don't they? Because the amount of money we're signing players for and the amount of investment the club are putting into them, I suppose it doesn't go beyond the realms of reality that we should be looking into them so much, and it's serious money, isn't it, and a lot of investment from the club. And what else have we got here? Hendo was underrated by some people, Thomas Boland said, and I found that as well, mate. I found that quite a lot, especially on Twitter. I've had many an argument with people on Twitter around Jordan Henderson, and I've always been fairly honest and fairly forthright in saying that I don't think he's the greatest player that ever played football, but I think he's been a fantastic club captain for Liverpool Football Club. I think he's represented the club amazingly on and off the field. Yes, he's had some injury worries, and yes, there are times where he's been a little bit frustrated maybe, but I think overall Jordan Henderson has been a very good addition to the club. I mean, from the fight back the way he did when we wanted to move him on to Spurs that time, and he openly said himself that he was very upset about that, and not Spurs, excuse me, it was Fulham. We were looking to move him on, and look, the way he's after rebuilding his career at Liverpool Football Club deserves immense respect. So I'm very pro Jordan Henderson, just as I was very, very pro Lucas Leiva as well, for similar reasons. A lot of people saying good night to Dave. Cheers, Dave, and thank you guys. I'm glad you guys enjoy when Dave comes on. He's a relatively new member of the Anfield Agenda team, but he's been a great hit. He's been fantastic since he's joined. I really enjoyed chatting to him both on podcasts and on here, and I'm glad to see that you guys like him as well. I've just been chatting with Tom here on WhatsApp, and Tom is going to join again during the week for another live stream. I know you guys got to know Tom this week, and he really enjoyed himself, and I'll probably join Tom on a live stream this week, and as well, Tom will be on the Cop Council podcast tomorrow night. He's been a regular on that show since day one. What else have we got here? Danny Alves, Duff and O'Shea. I think they're all players again you mentioned that we missed out on, and Danny Alves was the player I was genuinely trying to think of, Lubac mate, so thank you. The Junior says Tom's cool. He is. Tom's a lovely guy. Really, really nice young man. I was blown away actually by how together Tom was, because when I started the podcast, I was a little bit biased in that, if I'm being honest with you guys, and I always try to be, so with podcasts generally the demographic for people that listen to podcasts, for us particularly, have been 25 to 45 years of age roughly is our big hit in our demographic. So YouTube is completely different. It's a much younger audience, so it's why I always was a bit slow about coming on here, because I didn't know how I'd be received, because I'm 36 years of age, and my thoughts on Liverpool are probably a bit old school compared to some people, and I'd have different views on things. But when Tom was suggested to me to join the podcast, I looked into his profile. Obviously, I did a bit of Jurgen Klopping on him, shall we say, and I was amazed by what I found. I found a young man who's very articulate, very reserved, very measured in how he speaks about football and Liverpool Football Club. And even though he called me a Buddha apparently on here the other night, I really, really like Tom, and he's been an absolute superstar since he's joined the podcast. And do you know what? I'm really proud of the team that we've put together here at Anfield Agenda, because it's tough. It's tough to get people that can give up the time, because there's a lot of commitment to doing this stuff, and none of us get paid. We all do this gratis. Like, it's actually, do you know what? It costs me money to run this podcast to an extent, but I don't care. It's a hobby. It's a bit of fun. So thank you again to everybody that's joined us, that's hit the subscribe button, that's liked our stuff. I hope you guys listen to the podcast as well, because I know a lot of you might be just YouTube based and big fans of YouTube, but the podcasts they're great fun, and there's some real good insight on them. So I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you give them a shot, and thank you again. I know I've said thank you many times, but it means a lot to us. It genuinely does. Coming back in, the Junior says Musa was impressive for Nigeria. He most certainly was, mate. The touch for that goal, the first goal for Nigeria, was unbelievable, and the finish to catch it on the half volley as well, perfect. What else have we got? Flatman says still a baby at 36, Craig. Yeah, I don't feel it. I feel like I'm a very old 36 buddy. I actually turned 37. My wife turns 37 on Monday, would you believe? So not too long till her birthday. So I always like to slag her that I'm 3 months younger than her. So I always tell her, when she hits that extra year before me and I have that 3 month period, I always call her an L bitch and keep winding her up and telling her that she has a toy boy. Rod says, Craig, I'm here because you're old fashioned. Thank you, mate. That's really nice of you. And you know what, I am who I am, lads. I'm on here and I'll always be honest, and I'll always give my genuine views. And I know at times I can possibly seem like I'm cutting people off, or I can seem like I'm shouting down people's ideas, and I don't mean to be. I never have, but I know some people have taken me up the wrong way at times. But look, it is what it is. I am who I am. I enjoy coming on here chatting with you guys as well. So thank you for all the kind words. Lubac says Klopp also won't buy from certain agents. Look at the Pogba deal where £41 million went to the agent. Jesus Christ. That is nuts. And actually, Liverpool, I believe, are one of the highest paying clubs to agents over the last few years. I'm sure I read that somewhere. I mean, I don't think we're in the league of the Manchester Uniteds, but I think we're quite high up there when it comes to paying agents fees. I remember the Balotelli deal in particular. I think we paid a silly amount to Mina Raiola for that deal. But I hate agents. I really detest them with a passion. There are some good agents out there, of course there are, but the fees, like, I mean, you look at Neymar for instance, and as Lubac touched on there, Paul Pogba's agent, I mean, them fees are ridiculous, and that money is coming out of a football club that comes from obviously TV rights, but it also comes from fans buying merchandise, fans attending the game, and you know what, it's tough, and I hate to see money wasted on things like that. The junior said he's going to head off soon. He's in Tenerife and it's getting late. Oh, I don't know if you're on holiday in Tenerife, mate. If you are, enjoy it. Really nice place, and great to see you get away. If you're living there, even better. Happy days. But thank you, Junior, for joining again, buddy. Brian says even he is younger than his girlfriend by 4 months. So there you are. You're a toy boy, Brian. It's you know, you can tell your partner that she's lucky to have a toy boy. What else have we got on the chat here? Everybody loves Shaqiri now. Yeah, I think that was a great goal, to be fair. It was a lovely finish, and Jesus Christ, I was probably just as shocked as everybody else how toned he quite was when he took his top off, because I think we all knew he was a stocky little tank, but Jesus, the shoulder muscles were ridiculous when he took his top off. What else have we got? Lubac also says, I think the agent took a huge cut from the Coutinho deal, and that's why we were stalling on the transfer. Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. I've spoken about this on podcasts before. I despise them. I absolutely hate the money that they're taking out of the game unnecessarily. For me, it's just not. I don't like it at all. See, Dave's popped up in the chat. He says, cheers to everybody for asking all the great questions tonight. And again, Dave, from on behalf of us all, thanks for joining us again, buddy. I know it's later, you're in Germany, so you're an hour ahead. And thank you to your good lady wife as well for letting you come on play with us so much. Yeah, she must be a very understanding lady, as is mine, to be fair. Mike Marriott says he thought we were top of that league last year. I think he's referring to what I spoke about earlier on about the money to agents, and we may well have been top, Mike, mate. I just know we were quite high up on the list, and as I've said, don't like agents. Brian says she's laughing her ass off. Toy boy. Yeah, well, you know, the facts don't lie, buddy. You are a toy boy. She's got a little 4 month younger fella, so you know she's looking. It's supposed to be lads that get younger ladies, so she's reversing the trend, and fair play to her. Why not? The junior says people can't just sell everybody, i.e. Lallana. He's a close friend of Hendo and Milner and a fine player. Yeah, he's Hendo's best mate, but I just think he's right on the periphery for me, mate, and I think he'll probably end up staying because of where we are with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, but the club will look to move on some players this summer. I don't like, obviously, to free up wages, recoup a little bit of money, and Klopp doesn't like to just have players around for the sake of it. He likes to have a squad of 25, 26 players maybe that all have a good shout at getting in the first team, and he's honest with people, and he doesn't like to have people at the club if they don't have a real shot of getting into the first team. Ahmed says Lallana belongs at Anfield, and that's a very fair shout, mate. I'm glad to see you're a fan of Adam Lallana. He is a quality footballer. I've just said, as I said time and time again, for me he's just on the periphery at the minute of will he, won't he go, and either way I will be very understanding of the situation whichever way it pans out, because like you guys, I do rate Adam Lallana. I just think 30 years of age now, little bit of injuries. I mean, if the club were to get a decent offer from, would it be fair for them to accept it and possibly move him on? But then there is the whole Jordan Henderson side of things, and them being best mates. And of course we do have to have a specific amount of English players at the club, so he also ticks that box for Liverpool. What else have we got here? Brian says that he was hoping that we go for Ndidi, then Fabinho happened. Really outdid herself. I mean, that deal, look, it's old news, obviously we're on here talking about Fabinho, but where did it come from? I mean, none of us had a sniff, and like, we've all put on our ITK hats at times and thought we had little bits of inside information and read things before other people, but I honestly did not see a single person talking about Liverpool having an interest in Fabinho. Not one. It only ever seemed like he was Manchester United bound, and we all seen the amount of videos on here from Manchester United supporters welcoming him, as you've seen from Liverpool supporters for Fekir as well, to be fair, and he hasn't signed. But yeah, I never seen that deal happening, and it was one of those deals that when I seen it announced, I just thought, that'll do, I'll have me a bit of that. I mean, that was a very good piece of business by Liverpool Football Club, and it's beautiful when a transfer happens that way. Brian says we should get Milner to work with the academy when he retires. He's the kind of guy you want to have in your organisation. Great show, Brian. He is. I also thought that when we got rid of Colo, I thought it was a damn shame we got rid of Colo Touré, because he's the type of guy you want to have around the club as well, isn't he? But I've always said I think Lucas Leiva comes back to Liverpool Football Club and works in the system somewhere, because his wife and his family absolutely love the city. I mean, his kids are Scousers. You have to look at it that way. His kids were raised in Liverpool. They know nothing else other than living in Liverpool until now. Obviously, they're living. He's playing over in Lazio, but yeah, I think James Milner, he'd be a welcome addition anywhere. Milner is, he's a quality guy, so it's a great shout, mate. The junior reckons that Millie is a future manager, and that thought just went through my head as well. Yeah, ITK is no nothing, says the junior. There are a few guys that, to be fair to them, do get little bits, but I could name you 100 guys on Twitter, for instance, that are absolute spoofers and know nothing, but claim to, and it's a game on there at times, but we've always tried to be honest with you guys on here and on our podcast. We don't claim to have much knowledge. We only have opinions, like all you guys, and I think that's that honesty goes a long way with people at times. Ahmed says next year the finals at Madrid, our date with destiny. I was saying this to the guys on the pod, Ahmed. I would love a little trip over to the Wanda Metropolitan, or the Wanda Metropolitano or Metropolitan? I don't know what it is, but the Atletico Madrid new stadium. Is the one the Metropolitana? Yeah, I'm going with that. I'd love a little trip over to Madrid to visit that stadium, because it looks like a cracking stadium. I'd like to see where Atletico play, because I have a soft spot for Atletico, and it'd be lovely to get to a Champions League final and go to a decent, well, I don't mean a decent city, I mean an easy city to get to, because I've been fortunate enough that I was at Istanbul and I was in Athens. I couldn't get anywhere near this year's final financially and for family reasons. I just couldn't get over there, but yeah, I'd love a little trip. Even if I didn't have match tickets, I'd probably still head over to Madrid if we got to the Champions League final next season. Jill Junior says Lucas as an ambassador. I'd like to see him a little bit more than that, but as I said, very biased on my thoughts on Lucas. I think I've told you guys before, I'm such an admirer of his that I named my own son Lucas after Lucas Leiva, and I have a signed Lucas Leiva shirt in my wardrobe ready for my son when he gets a little bit older, for to kind of let him know where his name came from. Graham Kelly does know a little bit, I admit, and yes, Graham Kelly is somebody I actually regard quite highly. I've had Graham Kelly on a couple of podcasts over the years, and he's a really nice guy that certainly knows a lot about Liverpool Football Club, but nobody can ever get everything 100% because transfers move very, very quickly. Lubac thinks that Paqueta will replace Lallana. Interesting show. What else have we got here? We can celebrate together with Atletico, says Ahmed, when we kick Real Madrid's ass. Yeah, it would be nice, wouldn't it? I mean, it'd be a lovely, lovely city to go and visit. And I watched some of the guys that have gone to aways this season, and Rome in particular looked absolutely stunning. People looked like, obviously people were worried going over there, but it turned out that people had an amazing trip. And yeah, some European aways would be lovely. I'm hoping we get a trip to Germany this season so we can pop over and visit Dave and head down to a game in Germany. But yeah, top notch. Flatman reckons that Danny Agger should be one, and that's a good shout as well, whether it be an ambassador or whatever. Danny Agger loves this football club just as much as any one of us. Yeah, great show. Joseph Reardon asks, would you keep Moreno? This is a tough one. I probably would, The only way I'd let Alberto Moreno leave at the minute is if I was Jurgen Klopp and he was knocking on my door saying, look, I want to be playing football regularly. There's a move there for me. Just throw a name out there. Like, there's Real Betis are knocking on the door and there's a move there for me, and I wouldn't mind going back to Spain, Jurgen, to further my career and get back in the first team, because, I think he can do a job. I think he could do a job maybe a little bit further forward. And look, I'm not in any way going to say that he would be the answer to our left back area if Robertson was to get injured. But yeah, I think there's worse than him. So yeah, I probably wouldn't mind keeping him at the club, mate. How about you? Be interested on your thoughts on this one. The Bad Elf says Risa would also be a great ambassador. I'm not a big fan of John Arne Risa's. I don't know why. The guy's never. He never done anything wrong. He's only ever shown love for the football club, but I just never took to the guy. I don't know why. Junior reckons he'd sell Moreno and Klein can play left back, and that is a good shout. That's something I spoke about with the lads. Again, I keep saying on the pods, but it did come up. And Klein you can fill in on either side, and he's played left back before, I think, covered there, and he's more than capable. And it could be the only way he might get back into the team is as cover, because is he going to dislodge Trent Alexander-Arnold at this moment in time? Not sure. The junior saying he's got to go off. Good night, mate. Thank you again for joining us. Joseph Reardon says no, drop him. Any word on Telles? Right, I'm going to go out on the limb and try and remember this. Telles, is he the Porto left back? If it is the guy I'm thinking of, if Telles is that Porto left back, then I believe they were looking at 36 million quid or something along those lines, mate. And we won't be spending that much money on a fullback that we don't particularly need. I mean, they're asking silly money for him. And would you like to see us go and spend 36 million quid on a fullback when we have 3 decent fullbacks at the club, and then we have Moreno as well, who can do a job there. We even have James Milner, who if needed can do a job there. So for me, I heard that there's no genuine interest there. I did read the links a while back, but no, I don't think we're going to see us signing him. Mickey Fryer says Moreno and Mignolet to be sold ASAP. Keep the rest for the squad. If we were to sell Mignolet, or not Mignolet, he's gone. Hopefully he's gone. But if we were to sell Moreno, what type of fee do you guys think Liverpool could get for Alberto Moreno? Because it's really interesting to know. Because I think he still is he's still regarded quite well in Europe, I believe. So let me know what you guys think. How much would we ask for Alberto Moreno? Escapado says save the 35 million and wait for Sessegnon. Yes, please. Oh, yes, please. I'd pay whatever the hell I'm asked for him, to be honest. Brian thinks Moreno 15 to 17 million. Probably a good show. Flatman says phone's about to die, so need to go charge it. Enjoy the rest of the chat. Thank you, mate. Lovely to see you as always, and have a nice weekend. Amma thinks, are we going to be stuck with Karius? Even before the final, there were a few jitters in the keeper area. There was, and we seen what happened in the final, obviously, and people are going to say, was it because of the concussion? And none of us know is the God's honest truth. But if you think back to the game against Roma, he was very fortunate in that game that a shot that slipped through his hands hit off the bar and came back out. So as much as he did improve as the season went on, and he did, I don't think it would be very unfair of us not to say that he improved. But yeah, there is jitters there, and I think if he was to start the season as a first choice, a lot of Liverpool fans' head would fall off, and it wouldn't take much for the atmosphere inside Anfield to turn, and it wouldn't be great. It would be a big gamble by Kloppo. Finn says 25 million for Moreno, and in this market that's not unreasonable. Joseph reckons 15 million, probably on the lower side. Like Brian reckoned 15 to 17. So I think we're in the right ballpark here, guys. Somewhere between maybe the upper end of Finn is at 25 and the lower end of 15. Mickey reckons 5 million. Wow, that's what do you get for 5 million these days? To be fair, I mean, for 5 million we may as well just keep him for that. I mean, he'd have to be worth staying around for the 5 million. Rod says he couldn't help but noticing top keepers cocking up all over the World Cup. Yeah, I mean, we've seen what happened with David De Gea, and he didn't just have his fuck up at the World Cup. He had a fuck up, was it against Costa Rica in the lead up to the World Cup? So you're never going to get a foolproof goalkeeper. Like every goalkeeper's going to make mistakes. It's human nature. It's going to happen. Even if we go out and sign Alisson is going to make mistakes. There's no sure thing, especially with the style of play that Klopp wants us to play and the way a goalkeeper has to play for Liverpool and be on the front foot all the time. So what pisses me off about goalkeepers these days, and as I said, I'm an ex-keeper myself, they don't catch the ball enough, and that annoys the shit out of me. I mean, the amount of goals that I've seen over the years conceded because a goalkeeper has come out for a cross or a corner and punched instead of catching, and even if they got distance on the punch, it's still a ball that's coming straight back into the box most of the time, and it really annoys me. I just don't see it at all. Sean Lunt says, my favourite time of the night. I hope you're talking about the stream, because if you are, that's made my night, buddy, and thank you. Ahmed says, Neuer looks like a good fit. Neuer is just quality. Absolute quality. I love Manuel Neuer. I love everything about Manuel Neuer. He's one of my goalkeeping heroes, so... And Buffon, obviously, is my other one. Shay Given, maybe in Irish. I have a soft shot for Shay Given, although obviously he's not playing football anymore. Finn wants to know your thoughts on Olsen, the Swedish goalkeeper. Pulled off a few great stops tonight, didn't he? I mean, I suppose he was a little bit fortunate at times, and he was very unlucky with Germany's equaliser. I mean, the way that goal went in was he was unlucky, but yeah, he made a few good stops, didn't he? There's been a few goalkeepers like the Swedish keeper and the Icelandic keeper, and do you know who has impressed me, guys? Actually, during this World Cup, and sorry, I don't mean to skirt over the Swedish keeper because he's looked solid. The South Korean goalkeeper has really impressed me during this World Cup. I know South Korea have obviously lost 2 games, but I think he's been very, very lively. I think he's made some fantastic saves. I think he's looked really good with his distribution. I remember him pinging a ball out today that went, 70, 75 yards straight to the player's right foot. So he'd probably be the goalkeeper of the World Cup who's impressed me the most. Mickey says, your streams are ace. Thanks, Mickey. Thank you, mate. And look, again, I think this is maybe the 4th time I've said this on the stream, but if you are new to the stream or if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so, because it helps us grow the channel. It helps us make more people aware of Anfield Agenda, and it gets us talking to more Reds, so all the better. Lubac says, Olsen can punch like Mike Tyson. I love the Mike Tyson quote where he said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Donnarumma and Buffon for him to learn from a year. Too fanciful, I know. Well, Buffon's signing, if not signed, for PSG. But yeah, Donnarumma would be a good shout, but I would caveat that, as I've always said, if you sign Gianluigi Donnarumma, expect a year or 18 months where he'd have to acclimatise, because he's still learning. He's still, 18, 19 years of age. Very, very young man, but his ceiling as a goalkeeper could be immensely high, and we do know AC Milan need to bring in money quickly, so yeah, it would be a great show, and probably the only other keeper to Alisson that I wouldn't be too disappointed if we brought in, and I mean realistic here, obviously if Oblak came in we'd all be doing cartwheels. Mickey says, lots of great streams for Liverpool fans and yours are in the top 3. Oh, thanks, thank you, mate. As I've been honest and said, I don't watch stuff on YouTube. I'm a podcast person. I listen to as soon as I leave here tonight, I'll be going downstairs and listening to a couple of podcasts, Liverpool podcasts. So I'm really new to YouTube. Connor was the one that steered us over in this direction and said, you know what, we should put our stuff out on YouTube, see how it goes, see if people like it, see if it helps us grow the podcast as well. But as I said, we will have lots and lots of new, exciting for us content coming up as soon as the games start coming. We're going to be doing live watch alongs, as I said, so I'll be here reacting to the games in real time, taking your questions, getting your views on what's going on in the games. We'll be doing a post-match phone in, so you guys will have an opportunity to call into the shows and let us know what you're thinking, what your thoughts are about what's going on at Liverpool. We'll be having shows where we're bringing on 2-3 of our guys at a time and we're having little discussions. So lots and lots of content coming up here on Anfield Agenda. Brian has to go. He said good night and please let's not sign Areola. I always giggle. Yeah, the nipple. Sorry, probably shouldn't have said that, but yeah, I don't like Areola either. He's not a great keeper. Lubac says he would sell Moreno and Klein as we've got enough cover on both flanks and the money would buy a frickin' goalkeeper. Ahmed says, wow, can't wait for our season to start. LA all the way. I wonder what the song would be of this year. I've often thought that to myself, mate, what the new song is going to be, because every European adventure the club has a new song, don't they? And I mean, I loved this year's one. LA was absolutely top notch. I'm going, what time is it? It's 25 to 12, so I'm going to head off a quarter, so 10 more minutes, so probably enough time for 1 or 2 more subjects, so let me guys know what you want to have a chat about. Mickey says, are you doing the pre-season friendly matches? Sometimes. I got to be honest, I ain't a morning person, Mickey. I mean, I really am not a morning person. I keep very, very strange hours. I generally go to sleep at about 5-6 a.m. and get up at about midday. I have a very, very strange sleeping pattern. So we'll be covering them, but whether we'll be covering them in real time, I don't know. But yeah, we'll be doing them in some way. We'll be talking about them. We'll certainly be reacting to them. So, but the European ones are the ones that are on air timescales. Yeah, we'll be doing some watch-alongs. Escapado says, thank you for another great show. And again, right back at you. Thank you for joining us and making it a great show. Mickey says he works nights, so same as you. I'm a night person, and that's where mine started, buddy. That's where I started. I started off working for an online poker company. I worked nights there because I was catering for the American market. Then I worked as a taxi driver. Then I worked as a DJ for years before that. So yeah, always been a night person, always night jobs. And even when I got into podcasts, a lot of our market was overseas, so Australia, America, and I'd have to be up at night trying to grow the podcast, trying to talk to people in Australia, America, and just trying to spread the word about what we're doing. So yeah, good show, and I'm glad to see there's more night owls out there like me. Right, is there anything else for us to get through before we head off for the night and say good night? Let me see. Is there a subject I want to have a chat about? Can't really think of anything. So do you know what? We may as well call it a night. I think everybody's tired as well. Everyone looking like they head off. So I think I'll say good night to you guys as well. Unless there's something you want to chat about, but I can't see anything. Mickey says we catch the USA fans. Oh, there is something actually. Nick Pope, will he be ideal? We've seen today, Finn, that James Pearce of the Liverpool Echo has said that Liverpool categorically have no interest in Nick Pope or indeed Strakosha from Lazio. So I think we can put those rumours to bed for the time being. Rod says, cheers Craig, stay as you are, I'll have breakfast now. Well, you keep forgetting, buddy, it's Australia for you, isn't it? So I mean, thank you for taking your mornings and joining and tuning in and having a chat with us, Rod. I really appreciate it. The Bad Elf says great stream, and as I keep saying, it's only a great stream because you guys keep tuning in and watching, so thank you for that. Mickey says Nick Pope, oh yes, for me it's unfortunately it seems like it's an oh no for the club though, guys. Tom Connolly, okay Craig, talk soon, thanks for the show. Thank you, Tom. As I said, Tom, you're the first person I ever remember commenting on here on any of our stuff, so always great to see you here, buddy. And you know what, I'm gonna say good night now, guys, because I'm getting a little bit tired. It's been over 2 hours, and I'll probably be on tomorrow though, so if you guys are around tomorrow, we'll have a chat. Hopefully something will pop up during the day, some more Liverpool news. But until then, enjoy your Saturday, if it's Saturday for you guys now, or your Friday, and thank you for tuning in. And as always, up the Reds.